Shanae, turn yourself up a bit more. I think people are having trouble hearing you, friend.
Okay, so my mic is all the way up, but I'm gonna just use it like
There you go.
it helps at all.
I mean, it does make a difference.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just be lighting up the whole thing. That's fine. But so if everybody could introduce themselves and just like a small introduction of like how you guys met, like where you were in life when you met, and like what brought you two together.
Who's starting with us?
Anybody.
You know, Tanner, Parker, and
Alex.
we've been together 17 years and married 6. It'll be 7 in March of next year. High school sweethearts. We did the on again, off again, on again, off again. Leave different parts of the states, come back together kind of thing. And my favorite person.
That's so cute.
I think it's your guy's turn.
Yeah, let's go.
Yes, please.
Go up.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm Janelle.
I'm Lorenzo.
We have been together 9 years this year. Married 9 years this year. Together.
Wow, not you forgetting. That's
I didn't
wow.
forget. It said together. Together, obviously, but 2011. I'm not good at that. We met in college. We both ran collegiate track. So, we met on the track. For the love of things. Don't you switch your eyes. It was. Got there. Don't shake your head, no. It was also he burnt some pancakes, so yeah.
Go ahead.
Very nice.
But we can't tell who's next. So
It's you guys.
It's y'all. It's y'all.
yeah, y'all next. And then-
Yeah, that's not how I look on our screen.
and that's
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
everybody's arrangement is a little different, so we'll just go last. How about that?
Yeah. Y'all go ahead.
See, here we go. We're just gonna tap out for tonight. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
So good talk, everybody. Excellent panel.
Okay, 2 years this like past week, right? On the 5th, we've been together 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so been together 2 years.
What's your name?
Oh, my name's Brandy.
I'm Miguel.
Also, Candy B Cosplay.
Also, there's the
There we go. Video set. We met on a video set.
Because I do music, we met on the set of the Cosplay video, which is like one of my biggest songs. She ended up filming way later on and ended up becoming like the main person that was my love interest for the video.
Which was only right because I didn't know he was paying for bitches' costumes and making his food out, and I got a bottle of water. So, okay. And we've been together.
Budget was tapped out, so I had to do what I could. So
It sounds like he cared about your hydration. That's what I'm getting.
I wasn't thirsty
And it
though.
worked.
I don't know. The lights and stuff, you'd be parched. So
All right.
I was thinking about you.
All right.
And now I think about you every day.
Bars.
All right. So last is us. I'm Caitlin, and this is Alex, who is currently trying to fix sound issues.
Yeah. So we're gonna actually, when we're done, we're gonna go through that one more time because I realized.
Oh,
like
someone
an idiot.
says this sounds better now.
Okay. Fantastic. Yeah, I had this all on the wrong thing, so we are gonna correct that. We're gonna do one more round. Okay. So my name's Alex.
Hi, I'm Caitlin. A Full Velvet on Instagram. He's the one who's streaming
Yeah,
Comrade
I'm
America.
just right there. All of
We've been together 7 years. Yesterday was our 4th wedding anniversary. And we met swing dancing. We used to both be swing dancers, and then we met through that, and then started hanging out when we realized that we both had other vaguely nerdy hobbies that were not just throwing each other around a ballroom.
Correct. Yeah. So that's basically
Yeah.
it. So let's just go down. Let's just go down the row one more time, and everybody can say their name real quick, because I realized that we didn't capture that first part. Starting with Shanae.
I'm Shanae.
Cool. All right. Somebody else.
Parker.
All right.
Alex.
All right.
Janelle.
Lorenzo.
And
Brandy.
Miguel.
perfect. All right. Now that we're good to go, I think we're all fixed.
All is well.
All right. So, with all of your introductions and how you guys met, how do you navigate the cosplay community? Because just because you're in a relationship does not mean that it stops people from trying to be with you or holler at you or whatever. I feel like a good amount of people in the cosplay community are in either open relationships or in polyamorous relationships. So I kind of feel like people just feel like everybody is doing that. So it just doesn't really stop them. So, how do you guys set boundaries and navigate through the community? What does that look like for you? And if you guys want to go in order from what I'm looking at, is Alex, Brandy, Janelle, and Parker. Or it could be Parker, Nelly, Brandy, and Alex.
Don't confuse us.
I know, I'm just two Alexes. I'm sorry.
Or you could just, go down the line as you see fit and just, ask us directly. That might work.
Yeah, just say someone's name so we
just-
don't get confused.
Yeah.
Since you're moderating, you can go ahead and just call people out.
I know
More
there's some
moderated.
people that don't want to answer certain questions, but that's fine.
We'll just
So
hit
yeah,
the pass button.
yeah, cool. So, comrade, since you're talking,
I mean, so when we got together, we had this conversation, right? Like, when we first got together, we had a, 5-hour-long conversation about what we were and weren't okay with, things we liked, things we didn't like. It got embarrassing. I'm not gonna lie, it was fucking embarrassing. But in that conversation, we set out boundaries. And we upped that conversation every so often. Like, there was one time I went out to a dance night, and someone danced up on me, and I was like, oh, I don't know if this is okay. So I called him. I went outside and called him. He's like, here's the rules. Here's the basic boundaries that I'm okay with. And I was like, I am also okay with these things. So because we've been very clear with each other, like, this is what I'm okay with and this is what I'm not okay with, when people start shit, it's pretty easy to be like, nah, sorry. Also, being married gives you the wonderful, wonderful excuse of my spouse says no. So you don't have to deal with the bullshit and you just be like, sorry, spouse says no.
In fairness, I very rarely say no.
Yeah, but being able to say spouse says no.
Being able to throw me under the bus is a good,
it's,
good excuse.
It's a great benefit of being married is being able to say, sorry, spouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
Sorry, daddy says no.
But yeah, we talked about it. We have our boundaries. And if someone pushes them, the funny thing is that usually people don't come to me. They come to you about me.
This is true.
Which is a weird thing that's developed in our relationship. I think it's because I don't answer Instagram messages. I just don't talk to people online, and he does, so everyone goes to him, which makes it way easier to handle all of
Yeah,
that.
I at least once every month I get a message from some fucking teenager being like, "Can you tell your wife I think she's really pretty?" I'm like, you can tell her yourself, right? Like she's got a phone, like you can just text her and it's fine. But anyway,
Yeah. Funnel all of that to your spouse. Make them deal with it. That's my answer.
I guess, but by all means, by the way, I want to just kind of put it out there. If anybody has similar experiences, please feel free to just jump in because it's not exclusively us talking.
Yeah.
If anybody has any agree or disagree things, I guess one of the things that for me it was, I just inherently dislike people, so it's way less complicated to just not have to deal with individuals. Also, we started dating before we both kind of got into cosplay because we were both very into this other thing, and I think it was only a year into it that you were like, hey, I want to kind of get back into this, would you like to? And I was like, it was still in that phase of the relationship where it was like, sure, man, I'll try anything once. And then we kind of did it, and it was cool, and it was fun, and I was all right, I want to keep doing this.
We got lucky. We kind of hit the scene at the same time, so people just kind of assume we're attached to each other.
Yeah.
Also, I will say when I met Comrade and I was trying to get to know people in the DMV area, he was always like, oh, you should also follow my wife. You should be friends with my wife and stuff like that. Like he made sure that you guys were a unit at all times, and I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because I'm not social online. I'm social in person, and he's very social online and not in person. So he'll be online and be like, "Hey, my wife's super cool. You should hang out with my wife. My wife is super interesting."
Yeah.
And then I just won't respond to messages online, and then we hang out in person. I'm like, "Hey, my husband's super cool. You should talk to my husband."
Yeah. I mean, on top of that, it kind of like, I think that interacting with people online, kind of splitting that relationship up, kind of helps me manage my own social interactions with people. Because, like, you know, you can talk to one person or you can talk to 50 people at the same time, depending on how interesting they are. But you always have that option to control your sphere of influence. Whereas, like, in a purely social environment, like, I think it's kind of like you're just being thrown into the surf and seeing if you sink or swim.
Yeah.
So, what about you, Brandy and Eight, as far as boundaries? Like, what do your boundaries look like as far as the cosplay community goes?
So like
Because, you know, I know, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I know, like, with you being who you are, and, you know, we're mostly known for having rappers not really show their relationship and all that other stigma, whatever. And you are the total opposite of that. So, like, what do your boundaries look like?
so I like to live, right? I like to be alive. So nobody else exists but this one. And
Good answer. It's on the board. Good answer.
no, it's really about good communication, and I feel like we communicate really, really well. Um, and that's super important, especially navigating a space where, as a musician and an entertainer and stuff like that, I kind of belong to the people to a degree when I'm in public. So I have to just make sure that, in the interest of her, that I'm not compromising the integrity of the relationship for the sake of the fan or a like or a retweet or you know what I'm saying? Like it's not, none of that stuff is worth her being uncomfortable. So I just navigate in those space like, all right, would this make her uncomfortable? And sometimes I'll go into autopilot because I was a single person for so long before we got together that like I'll have to course correct kind of in real time sometimes, and I'll find myself like apologizing for something I might have caught too late, or you know what I'm saying, or something. If it felt weird, then I'll have a conversation with her like, yo, I think that could have went better, and usually she's like, yeah, it could have. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just glad that she allows me enough grace to be able to self correct. And it just goes back into that communication. Without it, we probably would be at each other's throats more often.
Probably so, because
I love
if
how
I
Brandy came in like, yes, we would. So,
well, to give like a fair, full, fleshed out answer, I have to go back. Like I've been married before. My ex husband was my first everything. So to give you context there, and then I had a boyfriend, like a few situations between, but not very well versed with just so many experiences because I was just so sheltered. And then on top of that, I was raised by two Marines, so there was a certain way that I saw them communicate. On top of it, seemed like my mom was a feminist, my dad was chauvinistic. So I was like, I get how this worked. And then I'm also like, the fuck? So I am used to a certain type of delivery that I'm like, it's not going to work with this one. And I'm lucky to be in something where I don't have to feel like I'm not being heard or considered. And giving him that space and grace to course correct by himself was huge for me, and then for him too, because I can self-soothe and be like, I'm not used to this, but I know at least enough to say, hey, because of my background, this is what I know I'm okay with in this season of my life. I don't know what a year from now is going to be or 5 years from now, but I do know we don't have to post ourselves all the time. People need to know we're together. I know what it's like to have somebody kind of hiding me on the internet. That doesn't feel good to me. He knows what it's like to have drama because people know you're together and they acting crazy. I didn't want that for him either. And it also helps me that I look at what we do as a business, because as I'm hosting an event planning and he has a whole rap career, I have to be like mindful of that. So I'm not always going to be the main girl in a video or on the cover of something or whatever. And it's like, well, how do we do that? Well, let me pick the girls.
Right.
I'm not going to have you out here looking crazy. And then that also takes you out of it. So no one can ever say, well, Crazy Eight came to me to that. No, his fiance to you. And so, well, I've been doing that for a minute. Recently engaged. because he likes to live. No,
Congratulations.
but that was something else. Being honest about. I'm like, I want to be remarried and everything else, but we had to make sure we could do life together. And as we had, as you guys said, a lot of those hard conversations out the gate, because I was not playing when I started dating again. This is what it is. This is what it ain't. And here's the gray area of what you want. So to be able to match without the fluff and the bullshit, we were able to connect off of truth and logic, and then we can get into all of the feelings and everything else. And I think it created a great foundation to where we can discuss, okay, here's the new boundary, how do you feel about it, and we'll adjust it as we need to. So that's how we make it work with who we are.
That's dope. So the next two couples, I know that the women are predominantly cosplayers and the men cosplay sometimes. So how do you two, as husband and wife, set the boundary, and how do you support your wife as in setting the boundary as well? Because you two also aren't really like, don't have a big online presence. Like y'all be online, but y'all don't be like talking to people. So like starting with Nelly and Lo, what do your boundaries look like?
Um, like I do not get DM'd or like approached as much as people assume I do. I think it's because my face usually reads, "Please do not talk to me." So usually, if I do get a DM, that's usually hilarious. It gets into the whole family group chat, and we laugh about it because it's always something stupid. But other than that, it's I if I my main photographer is Cam shot first, and if we do a shoot together, I usually run it by Lorenzo. I'll be like, hey, something might be out, something might be showing, it might be a little risque, and I usually run it by him before I'm like just post it, unless he's already like unless it's something in the realm that he's already seen, then it's like okay, well, But other than that, like we've been together for so long since we were teenagers, so we've had a lot of different seasons in our lives that we've grown together and changed. And I think one of the hardest things about being together for so long, from like teenhood to whatever hood we're in now, is
people hood.
middle age.
The hood.
Hood, yeah. Is just you have to learn how to love someone sometimes all over again, or love different parts of them. And like as we entered into being parents, it's been learning to love him as a father more than as a husband, even though I still obviously love him as a husband. But it was like learning to love him as a friend, then as a partner, then a fiance, then a husband, and now a father. So it's been really cool to see how he's changed and see how he works. But as far as boundaries go, it's a lot of communication. We definitely had to learn how to talk to each other when we first got together, because we both come from like, really broken homes and didn't see a lot of good communication. Didn't see any communication between our parents. So it's something that we're definitely always trying to work on, trying to talk about, so we don't create the same atmosphere for our son.
That's dope.
And I want to live.
Living is good. Living is good. I promise you.
How have you felt with me online?
I'm pretty chill. If anybody knows me, I'm pretty laid back. But again, like early on, she was like, "Hey, I'm gonna post this." I'm like, "Nah," or I'm like, "Oh, cool." And so I guess over the years, it's like, "Oh, I already know what he's not cool with, and I know what he is cool with." And for the most part, support everything. Like I'm not online a lot, so I'd be in the streets.
As a teacher,
I'd be in the streets. But anyway, but I do try to support. Like I wouldn't know what cosplay was if she didn't get into it, you know. So it's just supporting her journey and watching her grow and stuff like that. Even if she wants me to put on a suit every now and then, I will, and then get harassed at cons sometimes too. It's not just the women's, but
definitely got harassed for his Frozone suit. A woman was just like trying to take a picture of his butt, and we're like, "Can you not do that?" It's very odd.
I'm uncomfortable, socially awkward. But again, same with her. Like watching her grow, because again, she didn't cosplay when we were 19 years old, so just watching her fall in love with something else and figuring out what that is and rolling with it. So that's it. Like I don't think it's anything too crazy. Like just grow watching it and figuring it out as we go, especially with the kid now. Like no one tries to jump in the conversation with when you're dragging a baby around with you.
Let me tell you, the best deterrent.
Ain't no one's like the deal. Ooh, they got a baby. He's cute though, but yeah. So, I think that's a big thing. Like people just see us like, oh yeah, that's a family, and yeah, I guess that's like, I don't know, not our selling point, but just how we
We've always been
market
very
ourselves.
open about us being together and
Yeah.
us being a family. Like that's a good front that
Right.
we also being like a young Black family. I feel like that's something people don't get to see a lot. So we just want to put that front up there.
I like
Yep.
that. Parker.
For me, well, we also come from a similar place of Nelly and Lo. We since we've been together for so long, and I used to be, we both kind of partied together a lot when we were younger. That's a lot of where we got to bond and really spend most of our time talking. And I was a very scantily clad, dressed person around that time. Not much has changed. And so we went through the trials of, I'm not comfortable with this, I am comfortable with that. And I think the best thing that's always worked for us is that we're always willing to talk about it and just have a discussion. If it's something that I feel I want to wear and it's not making him comfortable, then we can find a way to meet in the middle or find a way to adjust what I'm doing. But ultimately, I'm also just not a person who I am loyal. I find somebody I want in my life and that's it. I like other people, I love other people, but I would really prefer not to deal with all of their stuff all the time. I want like it's nice to be desired and all that stuff by randos, I guess. I guess that's a thing people like, but to be able to talk about stupid things and have somebody who finds that just as valuable, if not more so, than the hot outfit you have on means more to me. So I try to be, especially when it comes to cosplay, because I obviously do some spicy stuff. Uh, Minerva is my spiciest of all time, but I try to show him the pictures or tell him the concept before I do it to see if it's something that he's comfortable with. I'm not trying to put my marriage after cosplay. Cosplay is whatever. This is forever.
Yeah, and I'm really open about it too. It's when it comes down to it, in my opinion, it's her body. It's hers to do with what she wants. But I do really appreciate it when she comes to me and asks me about those things, and if I'd be okay with those things posted on the internet. That does really mean a lot to me. Uh, and then yeah, just like back to the point of communication, that is something that we really struggled with early on in our relationship, and it was something we had to kind of brute force into it. It was something that we really struggled with, and
Thus the apart and together and apart and together. Yeah.
yeah, so it was like it was definitely a relief once we finally broke that ground and learned how to talk with each other, and it just keeps getting stronger every day, really.
And a lot of it was, especially when you are going through that, there's a difference between just trying to hold on for somebody who's not trying to communicate. It's that I always felt like we were meeting each other in the middle, even when we weren't seeing eye to eye. And when we were apart, it was always just I wish we could fix things. I wish we could talk about it. And we talked. And there's always the ability to talk. That helps.
I appreciate all of those answers. Those are all really great. And it sounds like communication, everybody. If anybody's
No
listening,
doubt about that.
Talk to
Communication.
your goddamn person.
Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway,
That's your person.
Talk to
Fucking
them.
talk to them.
Well, I mean,
right, like don't put it on Facebook, okay? Don't put it on Twitter. Talk to the person that you have an issue with. It's really weird.
I want
Okay,
to
don't overshare.
I want to throw one other thing there. So, as somebody
Don't,
who was
sorry,
married
I'm kidding.
before, and having seen a therapist about this, it also depends on how you communicate
Oh,
because
definitely.
Oh, sure.
you can talk to your person, sure, but if one of you is like, "Hey, I want to fix this," and the other person just basically wants to fight you, you're not going to make a lot of headway because
At all.
having been married before and having been in that exact situation where one person is actively working towards fixing things and the other person is just kind of happy being in conflict perpetually, it's a very different style of communication.
I don't even think it's that they're like just wanting to have like conflict. I think that a lot of people sometimes they're hearing from their wound. So it's like you might be saying like, "Hey, I just need a break from this." And they're like, "Oh, so you don't like me anymore? Is that what you're saying?" And it's like, "No, I just said I need a break." So yes, I totally agree with that. That's why again, communication is really hard, and I think it takes a lot of patience and grace when it comes to that whole situation. So
I think there's also to that point with when it comes to communication styles, because we run into this a lot. I am a very aggressive person and he is not. So if there's a situation going on, I think it's one of those I want to tackle it now. I want to talk about it now, and it's not always the best time. Sometimes you do just need to respect that space and learn to find a common ground. Like it's not always about the way you think it should go.
just saying, there's 3 cancers in this chat, so be careful. Okay?
Hey,
Just
fellas,
saying.
Yeah,
fellas out there-
sometimes.
fellas out there, choose life.
Yeah, because
So do you-
sometimes the
do
heat
you
of the
well,
moment is not the time to
like-
talk about it.
Saying that.
Sometimes you need to take 20 minutes to go do whatever you're gonna do
Absolutely.
and think about it and come down from your feelings and then come back and talk about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cooling off is a really big thing. Like, take a walk. Like, it's okay.
See, you guys, see, do all the nerds hear that? Don't punch holes in the walls, okay? It's all right.
Yeah,
let's
It's okay.
explicitly-
Punching
Punching holes
yeah,
in
breaking
walls.
things isn't cool.
punching holes in the walls. No,
Especially
my
PS5.
culture is not your cosplay.
Yeah.
Bruh.
So my ex-husband was white. I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah, well,
I knew it.
But okay, so we're
I am,
gonna.
I am happy to have like demystified that for you.
That's right. No, we'll talk.
Like I've always wondered, but we're gonna deep dive into this one thing that is a really hard subject called money. How do you budget this hobby in regards to what you're gonna spend on a cosplay, how you're gonna travel to the con tickets and stuff like that? And I don't want to be an asshole, but a lot of times like people just kind of do things and then you see like a GoFundMe and you're like, but you were just at the con. How do you guys manage and budget your money? Do you sit and say, you know what, okay, I'll do these 3 cons this year that are near me, or I'll just save for the really big con. I'll save for San Diego and the plane ticket and the all that stuff. Like, how do you guys manage that? Starting with Alex and Kate.
All right, so to be fully honest, we're really lucky because Alex is a professor. He is a teacher of music theory and music history and music appreciation.
I got my diploma and
So,
everything.
because he's ridiculously smart, we often get to offset a little bit of our convention costs by doing panels.
Yeah.
We don't go to a convention unless we're doing panels, which gets us a free ticket. So that one automatically sets us off. Also, because he is a professor and because he is presenting panels, he is presenting his work and research in a professional environment. Technically, we do get to like futz with our taxes about that, which makes it a much, much easier.
Because so long as you're doing something related to your profession, the IRS is like, oh, so like all of these expenses can be deducted?
So that makes it. Now, granted, we do sit and talk about it. We've never been to San Diego Comic Con. We've never been to Dragon Con because we both look at that and we figure out how much it's going to cost. And we're like, that's too much.
Yeah.
So what we do is we have the conventions that we go to locally. Basically, what it comes down to is, can we get a panel approved? If we can get our panels approved and we can get the tickets for free, we'll probably end up going because we can cut down travel costs. When it comes to how much to spend on a costume, no amount of budgeting is going to save you from the fact that something's going to go wrong. Something will go wrong in the creation process. You will run out of thread at 9 p.m. and have to go to Joanne's 10 minutes before they close. You're going to have to spend extra money in some way. So what we usually do is we decide what the costume's going to be. We look at what we can buy versus what we can make. And then from there, it's breaking down the costs from there, and we'll sort of piecemeal it. We're never really doing costumes like 2 weeks ahead of the convention. We're like, hey, we want to do like for MagFest, we're gonna do the Briarwoods from Critical Role. So we've already started talking. Like, he already has a lot of pieces that he can use for it because we've just been collecting pieces over the years. I've already looked a little bit at what it's gonna cost for me to make it / do it. So we don't have a set budget because the budget always gets blown, but it's sort of just, hey, the light bill's coming up. Can you hold off on buying your costume piece until the next pay cycle. You know, you need this particular costume piece. All right, well, we'll have the paycheck next week so you can get it for that, and I'll just hold off on buying this thing. And it just comes down to like, hey, I need this thing for this. What can we move around to get that?
Absolutely.
Also, like, no cosplay is worth.
Not paying your light bill.
Yeah. Like,
Girl, not even a light bill. I'm talking about like the rent.
Yeah.
no, I mean, I'm
Like-
talking about anything. I mean, it's cosplay. Last time I
Right.
checked, right? So I generally tend to prioritize that last. So if I don't have the time to make something for an event, or if I don't have the budget to buy something, I just don't do it. Because you know what? I got plenty of shit in my closet, and worst case scenario, I'll just make adjustments, you know? But I mean, kind of along the same lines of what Kate said, I also tend to offset the cost of conventions because I do photography. And that does tend to pay for some part or all of our hotel bill, at least locally, which is really, really helpful.
Yeah, it is. Basically, monetize your hobbies in your hobby.
Boom.
But yeah, like we just, you know, the number one thing people are like, how do you afford conventions? We do panels. That's how we do it. If it weren't for panels, we wouldn't be going to as many conventions because they're ungodly expensive.
Absolutely. All right, Brandy and 8.
Only reason we're laughing is because we are goofy and we laugh about everything. Money and budgeting, I will say, at least from the cosplay aspect, because he wears his armor that he's known for his nerdcore rapping all the time, so we don't really have like to worry about him. Although I want to change that, but for me, because of how I create, and also because I've kind of gotten into this habit of making the characters I love like showgirl style now, burlesque style now, and rhinestones and feathers and all that stuff ain't no hoe. I've realized in that creative process, like she was saying, you end up spending more anyway. Because I'm like, oh, I didn't think I wanted to make the headdress like this, and now I do. But to also Comrade's point, I'm not going to make it so my 16-year-old can't go do something or doesn't have money in his lunch account because mommy needed extra rhinestones. That's wild. Like, I don't ever want to have, like, we know people do it, but it's not that serious. If I was like top tier cosplayer where it was like, hey, I'm about to get $1,000 for just showing up here, but then okay, sure, ROI is fine, but that's not that type of party most of the time. As far as traveling to ones, I probably started laughing because we actually got into it about the same con
Twice.
two years in a row, because I was just like, I don't see the point in going, because I'm on some, if we can't get you paid to perform there, the hell we going for? Because again, it's stupid dumb expensive. Even when we're staying with friends, because of how we've moved in this community, we have some great friends. Because of my military background, I have friends all over the place. So even when we drove from Ohio to Texas to go to DreamCon to save money, which was very worth it, but we stayed with people along the way. But some of these cons, I'm like, look, if they're not paying you to perform and we're taking time off work and it's gas and this, I'm like, no, I don't want to go. I'm not seeing a return on investment. I was like, you have to make this make sense to me, because it's not, those are the only times we get into it. I'm like, I don't be trying to hear shit. Like, I'm not trying to hear it.
What happens
Every time he be right. It
So-
ends up worth it somehow, but I just had to be transparent of just me saying I don't see it. And I think that's me, at least in this stage of my life, being over 35 now. And I'm like, I'm trying to think about things more logically. Again, I got a 16-year-old, so how I'm thinking about life, I'm like, look, stuff is different. And he does this thing where I almost feel like sometimes I'm like, what fairyland are you in? Because I'm here. Where are you at? Because meet me here. But I think that's the beauty in us being so opposite in some ways, because I lean more into what he's talking about. And then even if we don't see the money I would like to see, we see an opportunity that helps us get to a better bag later, all because we went to something I really didn't want to go to. So I think we try to, well, I try to do a better job listening to him when he wants to go someplace.
Yeah, or like if I do want to do something that she is on the fence about or wants to lean more toward a no, I'll make sure I hustle and make sure I can take care of expenses to give way to making that make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me put her mind at ease because I found the money we needed to make this happen. Or like when we was at DreamCon and I wanted to buy, so I spent money on some stuff because I just had to have it. And
We're not gonna say just spent money because this is how y'all know he violated. Because he came to me while I was watching his booth and he said, "Babe, listen." I said, I already knew you done spent us some money. He was like, I'm gonna, he sound,
I was
we were,
like,
he's like, I'm gonna make it right. I'm gonna make it work.
Right.
And I was like, you sound like one of those like drug dealer movies. Like, I'm gonna I'm gonna make this right. And I'm looking at that booth, like, cause you know, we're in front of people too. And I don't want to be looking like the mean shrew girlfriend. So I'm at the booth, like, you fucking better. And he did.
I went out there, I made it work though. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I got enough confidence in me to make sure that I will keep my word so that she doesn't have to worry about financial things when I feel like I'm going on a leap of faith. My leap of faith usually has some works behind it to make it come true, to validate why I felt so strongly, you know what I'm saying, in the spirit. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm grateful for, that she, you know, she's giving me the grace to like be the creative, open-hearted dreamer that I am.
Ooh, yes. He's a
And
dreamer.
And I'm glad that I got enough work ethic and hustle about me to make sure my dreams come true though. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I can back up what I dream about.
And I just had an epiphany in this moment. And this is the beautiful thing about having these conversations amongst people, because I was like, damn, why do I be so triggered when you have these dream roles? You're like, I'm going to make it right. And I'm like, how, son? How? Like, I don't see it. And it's because I've been through like some traumatic things that have caused me to be like out of my house, like trusting my ex-husband too much. And then waking up to him moving stuff out. And I didn't, he was paying for everything. So I was like, what do you mean get out of the bed and you're moving the bed and I have to find a place to live? What? Or later on being homeless and living in a church. I have had like wild shit happen in my 20s. So being financially stable is very important to me. I know it's not everything and you can always like make the money back, but I just be like, I'd be nervous about like $300 and it's only $300, but I think that's where that comes from, which is my shit, not yours. So yeah,
okay, healing. Okay. Okay. Sorry. All right.
Figured out where that came from. That's why it's so triggering when he's like, it'll be fine. And I'm like, you don't know what it's like to be homeless, do you? Like, so I think that's where that comes from. So gotta watch that.
I didn't mean to laugh. It's like a cackle. It's like, sir, you don't understand. Okay, we are poor anyway. So Nelly and Lo, how do you guys budget and everything? Being a teacher, being working in IT field, having a baby, stuff like that. Like, how does all of that like pan out for you guys?
First off, I work in finance, not IT. But
listen, it's computers. It's computers.
Okay,
it's computers. They be in the row. It's IT for me. All right.
I mean, before like pre-child and preparing for child, it was. I mean, we don't go to a lot of cons. We go to Comic Palooza, which is local. And then like we've been to Dallas Comic Con. Like it's really, we try to stay local, like in Texas. I went to my first out of state con this year, and that was something we had planned for like 6 months. So when it comes to like making stuff, I am very I'm very eccentric when I create things. So it's like, oh, I get an idea, I'm like, I have to do it now. But usually I will go into my craft room and wrestle around in there and try to figure out what I already have from things I can upcycle or make or whatever. Typically, I don't have to do a whole lot. But again, after I had a kid, I slowed down making cosplays like for a while there, just because it's just, hard to learn how to navigate being responsible for another whole life.
That's gremlin. So, yeah.
A gremlin, yeah. Actively. So it's, and then I try to like redo or rewear stuff I have. It's always about, I think one of the most fun things about cosplay is making things from stuff you have. Like I started cosplaying because I started doing closet cosplays, and then I slowly started making stuff. But like, they said, it'll be 11 p.m. and I'm like, I feel like I should make a cover for something. I have the itch. So I've definitely left the house and came back with bags of things, and he'd just be looking at me, and I'd be looking at him, and we'd be looking at each other. But bills will always be paid. This house will always be paid for. I I don't like being broke, but everyone is broke all the time now because this economy is bad. But we definitely, if it's one of those things like, oh, I really want to make something, I'm like, I can just wait till a pay cycle to get materials I need, make sure I have what I have anyway, or use what I have. I don't typically buy cosplays. I usually like go thrift, put pieces together. If you are starting cosplay and you do not want to pay for cosplay, go to the thrift store and tape things together, glue it together. It doesn't matter. Fit you. I love all my Joann's coupons, my Michael's coupons. If you have a Michael's near you and you know a teacher, ask them for their stuff so you can get 15% off of Michael's. Just saying. Or if you're
Gems.
also military discount. But yeah, it's not so much of like they said, budgets be out the wazoo. But if we know we're going to a con, we try to like save up every paycheck a little bit for it to buy tickets because, like y'all said, ticket prices. Like going just to two cons this year was enough for me. I was like, you know what? I don't, I don't need to go to no more cons, and I end up going to three because I end up helping at a booth, so I got into free for one, so it was fine. But if we want to go to something, we usually try to plan it out at least 6+ months in advance. But yeah, that's we're never gonna not have these lights on. I'm too paranoid for that. Absolutely not.
As our grid messes up.
Oh my gosh, yes, unless the Texas grid decides it wants to.
Yeah, that.
But that's our legislation, so let's get deal with that.
All right, Parker and Alex, how do you guys budget for your things? Because I know, like, just being you, I know all of these people, by the way, people. Being your friend, I know that you're amazing at upcycling and everything. Like, half of my things that she has made is her house. Like, I still love my Riddler cane, and I tell everybody, I was like, bitch, this is a curtain rod. Like, did you know? No, you didn't. So,
People
just
ask me all the
saying.
time about Zeke's sign in his room. Parker made that. Listen, it's so cute. I don't even want to change his room because I don't want to get rid of it.
So how do you like budget and work things out and you know?
Well, I am a
Very chaotically.
It's not always chaotic. Like that's half of the plan is chaotic.
No, it's gotten a lot better. It used to be quite chaotic.
Yeah.
But then she started doing her project manager thing and put everything into spreadsheets, and it became amazing.
I'm a project manager for the tech industry, so in that regard, I'm also fortunate because I get paid tech money, and it's good money. And I started using a lot of those disciplines to bring it into my cosplay because I like to produce a lot of stuff. I get a lot of ideas and I just want to chase them whenever I feel them. So I use spreadsheets. I write down all the things that I want. I try to make little notes of where I can pull things from the house. There's often times before I start a project where I will just walk around my house looking for things that look like parts of my costume first so I can see how much I can eliminate from my budget. And it started to become kind of like a game for me because I can get rid of trash in my house. And I've gotten rid of quite a lot of stuff that way. It also, I don't go to a lot of conventions. I probably go to 2 conventions a year, sometimes 3 if I'm very lucky. But I like to think long and hard about the ones I want to go to, try to plan ahead for them. Have not been doing so well this last year and a half, but I've also started getting invited to more cosplay judging because I would say about once a year, I try to join a cosplay competition because I just really enjoy it. And you can meet a lot of people who give a lot of great tips for free at those things. So I like to go there, meet the people who know the information and learn from them firsthand. And you also get to develop a bit of a circuit so you can meet other judges, you can get to meet other contestants, and sometimes you'll get invited back as a judge for things, which also gives you that convention badge. um, Otherwise I will try to save money in any other way I can, and usually because we're not like he's not super convention guy. Sometimes he just goes with he won't go with me, or sometimes he'll go and just
do less at the convention. Like I'll go to the con or something like that, but we usually save money sometimes that way. We don't really.
Depending on where I go. Sometimes I
Yeah.
find like a good bar and sit there for too long.
Yes, that's his biggest bill is the bar. For me, it's the artist alley because I like to pretend there is no such thing as a price tag there. Like, but it's helping small creators. We have to we have to help the community. But I found that instead of going to conventions, if you can find local cosplay events or local cosplay groups in your community and just do fun things with them, hell of a lot cheaper. You don't have to deal with a lot of crowds. You can leave when you want to leave, and you get to be around people who also like the same thing. So, like in the Carolinas, I'm with Nerd.0 a lot. I'm actually going to an event with them tomorrow. We're doing an old folks night. And they do just local shoots and things of that nature, which is a great way to also save money in cosplay and to find group events where you can meet other creatives who might want to do an exchange of time and material or stuff like that. Or I'm also very fortunate that I do my own photography, my own videography. I do a lot of my own stuff. And if I want to do something that's really expensive, I will sit there and learn it from YouTube for free and then teach myself to do it for a lot cheaper.
I just want you guys to know if you do not follow Parker, please follow Parker. She will make a cosplay and remodel her deck all in one day. And I'm not even joking. But thank you guys for all of that. Like it sounds like a lot of you budget very well and you put the needs first before the wants, and that is a big deal for me. I am just kind of all over the place. I do budget, don't get me wrong, but for me, like I'll make the cosplay and all that kind of stuff, or I'll get the cosplay, and then a week before the con I'm like, oh, I should totally get the ticket because what am I doing this for? I just be all over the place. But either way, another question I had as far as coming into the cosplay community, as if one of you decided or the both of you decided to be a cosplayer, was there any expectations that you had? And what I mean is like, so when you're dating someone and let's say you have, you know, problems or there's issues or whatever, and you're like, you know what? If we get married, these problems will go away. Or if we have a baby, it'll bring us together. Like, were there ever any expectations you had coming into the cosplay community as far as like, okay, we're going to cosplay together all of the time? Because you guys know that there are couples like that. Was there anything ever where it was like, okay, let's say, and Conrad, I know the answer to this, but I want you to answer it anyway. Let's say you are Kate's photographer. Was it a thing that is like, okay, I'm always going to be her photographer. I don't want her to photograph with anybody else. Like, were there any expectations that were had when you guys came in? And if so, how did you guys navigate that?
Um, I would say there was so when we first got together, I was doing cosplay and he was not. And I wouldn't say it was an expectation, but I was really hopeful he was going to want to get into it because it was something that was important to me. And I was like, I think you will enjoy this. I want you to do it.
Little did she know, I've done it before.
It turns out he was like, oh, I've always wanted to get back into this.
I was like this the whole time.
Yeah.
No. You have to understand, just for context, my first convention was Otakon 1999.
Wow.
That is how old I am. Okay?
But yeah, so like...
You look beautiful, though.
As far as expectation, like, it was never, you know, like, oh, we're always going to cosplay together and we're always gonna... So, because, like, I think we've done maybe 2, like, canon couples costumes.
No, we don't do couples cosplays.
We really don't. Partially because they're just difficult, but also, like... There isn't an expectation that we're going to cosplay the same thing. There isn't an expectation that we're going to, like, cosplay from the same thing. There is a mild expectation that when we're at the convention, we will be with each other.
Right.
When we're wandering around. Like, if I'm at the con in costume, I kind of expect that he's going to be somewhere with me. Yeah. Unless he's like, I've got photo shoots, I've got other things going on. So, you know, there is a little... There was that little bit of, like, hey, if we're going to be at the convention together, we're going to be doing stuff together. But, like, the only real thing that we do is we do sometimes do what we call, I owe you a costume.
Yep.
In that, like, so he loves Cowboy Bebop. One of his favorite shows on the planet. And he really wanted to cosplay Cowboy Bebop. And Cowboy Bebop it's a great show, but it's one I haven't gotten all the way through. it's not really a bingeable show, all the excuses. And so I was like, yeah, okay, I'll do this costume for you. And so I did Spike.
And it looked great.
Yeah, and so I was like, all right, well, this really isn't my thing. I wasn't like super jazzed about being a dude for a day.
Pun intended.
But like I did it and I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I'm like, all right, well now you owe me a costume of a character that like maybe you're not like crazy jazzed about this show. You don't love it insanely, but now you're gonna do a costume with me.
Joke's on you. I love everything. So
Liar.
But yeah, like that.
Well, not everything, not everyone. I hate people.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those things like we never really had this idea of like, oh, everything, we're gonna do X and everything's gonna be perfect, or you're gonna do Y, or like we're only gonna cosplay with each other and we're only gonna do stuff together, because that's just not how life works.
No, fuck that. We don't plan. I mean, the mere assumption that I have enough brain space to plan that far ahead.
Usually what happens is one of us does a costume and the other sees, like, he'll do, like, Metal Gear or Bloodborne, and I'll be like, that looks really cool, you're having a lot of fun, I want to do that too.
Yeah.
That's about where it comes from.
Just about, yeah.
I love that. I love the whole, like, okay, I'll do this for you, but you owe me a cosplay. Like, that's really dope.
Yeah, and like,
you still need to cash that in, by the way.
Yeah, by the way, you keeping score is fine, just don't be an asshole about it.
Yeah.
So I can be like, yeah, you still owe me a costume, but, like, I'm not gonna be like, you owe me a costume now.
Yeah.
Like, we'll figure it out. I'm not gonna make him do something he's not comfortable with. I'm not gonna dress him up like Felicia from Darkstalkers and be like, you have to wander around a convention with your ass out.
F's in the chat. Everybody in the chat is like, we need to see this on your OnlyFans. Like, yeah, you're gonna be paying a lot of money for that.
But yeah.
So my thing is, I come from my previous marriage where my former spouse was like, you're not allowed to look at other women. You're not allowed to dance it up with other women without my express permission. And even if I give my permission, if I don't like somebody, if their vibes is off, I'm just going to be like, no. And then we're going to have a huge fight about it because I feel like it. And I'm like, okay, that sounds reasonable. And then I got into this relationship not knowing, like, there's such a thing as normal people. And, like, immediately, I think, I was like, hey, I'm so sorry. I'm going to be hanging out with this friend of mine. She's a girl. And Kate's like, why are you reporting this to me? Like, it's fine. You can just go and spend time with, like, I don't fucking care, right? And that was, like, a mind-blowing revelation to me that I can just have my own identity within a couple without, like, having to constantly give accountability to somebody for my choices. You know, like, that was a big mind blower for me.
You were a whole person before you got into that relationship, and you're still a whole person once you're in it.
I don't think I was a whole person when I got out of my last relationship. I am pretty sure I left a big part of myself in there, but, like, that's a separate talk.
Yeah.
Tune in next week.
But yeah,
for trauma.
Yeah. Trauma dumping the podcast. But yeah, no,
Right, Brandy and-
there was
sorry,
very
go
little
ahead.
in the way of expectation, because I think we just both kind of knew vaguely what we wanted and what we were about. And again, we talked to each other about it.
I appreciate that. So, Brandy and 8, because I kind of already know the answer to this question. Because once I posted it, she messaged me like, "Oh my God, girl!" So yeah, I'm gonna let you guys explain.
It was funny when she said it, because my goal initially getting in the cosplay community, I had already told myself I'm not dating none of these clowns, and that's not what happened. So after I got with him and nerdcore rapper, I was like, well, he's always in his armor. I can just wear what I want, and I finally came into relatable concept to what he was just saying, just my own person, and I was like, I'm gonna wear what I want to wear. I don't want to hear no on this, because I was used to being controlled. And then I realized, wait a minute, I actually want us to kind of like do stuff together. So 2 years, still haven't done it. Like, I keep saying, okay, yeah, this Halloween or this next con. But the reality of it is, by the time that stuff comes, and with the time it could take, and I don't have the habit of getting with the smallest men, so there is no just buying something for him online and adjusting it. There is no, well, we'll just get these shoes. Not when you wear a size 15. No, we won't. So I'm trying to do like at least one within the next 5 years, and I think that'll be good enough. But I love that idea that you guys were saying of you owe me a cosplay, because there's characters that he wants that I don't want to do.
And I'm completely like, the idea of it is really dope, and I want to get into that. So the only expectation I really have is for myself to just be super supportive, and if she want to do a couples cosplay, as many times as she want to do a couples cosplay, I'm with it. Like, we just gonna have fun anyway and be goofy and be laughing anyway. So, like, I could do that in my armor or not. Like, you know what I'm saying? It don't matter. The only reason that, like, we've kind of been in a space where I haven't really had to cosplay is because usually when we're at a con where I'm supposed to be Crazy Eight that day. So I have to be in the Crazy Eight cosplay all day and talk to people and take pictures and stuff like that. Like, it's really funny that when I'm outside of my armor, I'm invisible. And then the moment I put it on, I can't walk 2 minutes in certain spaces without having to, be for the people. So I would love to have one of those moments where I don't have my armor on and can disappear into a character with her. It's gonna be really dope. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking forward to it.
And I was trying to be sensitive to the fact that he's his own brand that he's been doing since what, like 13,
Yeah,
like
she's all about that
his
too.
whole life. And I had just started to become more extroverted on Beyonce's internet. So it was like, okay, let me, put more cosplays out there. And then realizing, well, that means people at these cons there's like a slight expectation when they see you. And so I've had to learn, well, he has to kind of sometimes go and do his own thing, and I do too. And that doesn't mean anything's wrong. We'll just make sure we meet back at this booth, or we've had enough conversations where it's like, you won't roll up on me and something looks weird with me talking to somebody, or, vice versa, to what he was saying earlier, being able to catch himself like, well, I'm used to being by myself, and by myself, that was fine before. And now it's not, all because of optics, if nothing else, because it's just too sensitive of a climate. And I have seen how some women may treat men that they think is available, especially if they think it could mean something for them in the cosplay community. If it means, oh, I get a shot at being in a video, or you got this many followers, or so and so. I've seen it, even in subtle stuff where I was like, hey, these girls will try anyways. They'll touch your armor and they don't need to touch you to talk to you. I'm like, I called it and I've seen it. So I'm like, you have to watch that. And he's so kind and approachable. And I would just hate also for him to be in a situation where, you know what I mean? The next thing you know, you got to make
He lost his life. It's crazy.
yeah, or that. So I think we're doing a good job with communicating that and making sure, like they were saying, as a couple, we honor that we're individuals, so we can move how we want to move, and there's not a lot of permission asking. It's just doing that plan before the con, especially since we're not cosplaying together, and being like, all right, you're gonna look like this, I'm gonna look like that, ready, break. And then in the future, if we want to do something together, we'll try to plan better.
Right.
Nelly.
So, do I force my husband into cosplays?
Absolutely you do.
Absolutely.
Love you for it.
Absolutely. Listen, I don't do it all the time, but sometimes I just get these ideas and I'm like, you know what would be crazy? Go with me. What if we both were in costume? I do. The only time I really try to make him wiggle him into a cosplay is when I know it's something that he is really reflective of who he is as a person. And I feel like over the years I've picked that up. That's why we've done Frozone, just other little random things that we do. But I never really try to get him to do something he doesn't like or hasn't seen, because we generally watch the same things and like the same things. We enjoy being each other's company. So when we're at cons, we are always together, mostly because I do not like walking alone at cons. I don't like.
I wouldn't be there if she wasn't there.
Yeah, that also. Like,
why be by myself?
And now that we have a little family, it's always like, oh, well, how do we toss a little baby into the mix? So again, it's why the Frozones came around. That came about because we're just like, he already had his I got him his Frozone costume 1 year for something.
She's trying to force me into the community.
No,
everyone
everyone kept saying, "Wow, you know who you look like? You look like Frozone. Oh my God, you kind of look like Frozone." So we put him in a Frozone costume, and then he got stopped every 10 seconds. We went to the con the first time. But other than that, we don't plan to do things together. If something comes up, then we do. We always try to dress up for Halloween, generally kind of within the same thing, or not, just whatever we feel like doing. I have no idea what we're doing for Halloween this year.
You just never write the ideas down.
First of all, I have a lot of ideas. Some of them
Say we never write them down.
they're in a book. In my heart, don't come for me. But yeah, it's really like, hey, I have an idea. You want to do it? And he'll be like, not really. And I'm like, okay, but I'm gonna make your costume. So here you go. Love you so much. But because he supports me and loves me, he genuinely will put on anything and look ridiculous if I ask him really nicely and give him kissy faces. So sometimes that's very true. There's nothing that I don't think I've asked anything crazy. No.
Use them wisely.
I do have to. I cashed our couple cosplays in very wisely, and it usually comes with getting him a Zentai suit. That's usually I'm like, oh hey, you really like Spider-Man? That's crazy. I bought you this suit.
That's great.
Wear it,
Exactly. Someone got to wear it, but it's in the closet now. So I don't know. I also might have a Gwen Stacy suit. It's fine. I don't know. We should wear it the same time. Mm-hmm. Be cute. So that's usually how it works. But 9 out of 10, if you find a partner that loves you and cares about your craft or whatever you're doing, you don't have to like the same things. Like we do things separately often, but we generally like being in each other's company. So it's helped a lot over the years, just liking the same stuff.
Okay, so I want to take a hard pause right there because every couple that just said anything is just like, as long as my spouse is happy, as long as I'm doing what makes them happy, I'm supporting them or whatever the case may be. I need people to really zone in and understand that you have to get with people that are like-minded of you. Like it's so many conversations that go on in relationships like, oh, it's childish that they play the game or it's childish that they watch cartoons, aka anime or shit like that. But it's like, okay, girl, but you're watching Love and Hip Hop all day. Like, are you trying to be a celebrity? Are you trying to be an influencer? Who are you? So it's just like, just get with like-minded people. And also like try to meet them where they are. Like if you feel like it's stupid or whatever, then maybe that's not the person for you. But it doesn't take much to care about what the person that you're with cares about. It's like sincerely just not that hard. I like, again, me being who I am, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm a 2. I'm a solid 7 on some days. Okay, I'm a 9 if I take the dandruff out my hair. But
a little bit of a 10, if you will.
I mean, but anyway, but I get people that see me and they see my car, they see my shirts or something, and I have anime on it, and I get questioned to the T about me liking anime.
Wait, you watch anime?
I name every character ever made in anime.
What was the color of Naruto's underwear in episode 5?
But sincerely, like I get these questions, and I'll never forget this one guy questioned me for like 30 minutes, and I was just like, I don't even know why I was answering him because I was outside like sunbathing, honestly. And after he asked me all of the questions, right? He's like, yeah, so like, I want to get your number, and I'm like, for what? Like, and he's like, I just want somebody to watch anime with. Like, you literally just like
your mama.
You just interrogated me for 30 minutes
for my relationship.
Yeah, you qualify. Like what?
You qualify. Good job.
Me and Lorenzo will quite literally jump people with our opinions. Like people, like, we've had large scale discussions over birthday cake. Like someone like, did you know so-so? And I'm like, actually, and then here comes Lorenzo, but also we will jump you with opinions. Do not talk over
Whether
here.
I agree or disagree, you getting jumped.
Getting jumped. Like, we're gonna be on the same page.
Be with somebody that's on the same page as you. It's just really weird when you're not. But that's all I wanted to say in that moment. But I'm gonna pass
force
it.
People to like what you like
at all. Like, don't try. It's fine. It's okay to not. It's just don't be a bitch about it.
Here's
that's all
my
I'm
question,
saying.
because as a white guy, I don't get to experience it. Like, we're the ones doing the gatekeeping, okay? So, like, hypothetically here,
As she dies on
what is the expectation that you, like, amaze somebody with the amount of pointless bullshit trivia you have about the size of Dio's penis? That they're like, oh my god, I totally want to have sex with you.
Right, like
is that the idea?
I don't know. I don't know, friends.
So much.
It's just I could understand if people bothered me about like JoJo or something. Like that's fine. I don't even force people to watch JoJo, but it's just not even. It's not even. The funny part is now I'm just rude to people because like this one guy
Shanae's taking lessons from me.
Yeah, it's like I think I had a Dragon. No, did I have a Dragon Ball Z shirt? I had on something. I had like a Demon Slayer shirt.
Arbitrary anime 99.
Huh? What happened?
You had on something.
Yeah, I had on something that was like anime related, and this guy was like, "Oh, so you watch anime?" I'm like, "Nope, never heard of it. I just thought it was a nice shirt, you know." And then he asked me something like, do I watch One Piece? I'm like, yeah, actually I do. I have a best friend that watches it. My partner watches it, blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, well, yeah, I never watched it, but I've seen all of Dragon Ball Z. I was like, I know you have. You look like it. Like, it's clear. Look, but you're not one of those people, Abe.
She said what she said.
Okay. You know what that means. It's always them.
Not all DBZ fans.
It's not all of them. It's a select few.
So many.
No, it's most of them.
Many.
Yeah.
There's something about Dragon Ball Z that definitely attracts a very specific type of person.
It's entry level. It's
probably
entry level
too.
anime. Like it's the starter kit.
Well, for a lot of
I
people,
love
their
Dragon Ball
first
Z.
introduction. It was
Yeah.
one of the first that hit the States.
It was
Listen,
one of the first things that I watched growing up, so I love it for
Love it.
what
It's
it
just
did.
2023. So let's.
That's it. That's all I'm
expand our
saying,
horizons
guys.
A little bit.
Like,
little.
can 2023 beat Goku though? Let's talk about that.
The thing that
It's beating
floors
everybody
not
else.
right is that
Whooping my ass.
like there is a sizable
Oh no, it might.
there's a sizable number of people who do that shit who are still convinced that anime is like it's like a genre, right? And it's really not. It's just a medium. It's what Japan uses in lieu of live action because it's cheaper, you can make more of it, and there's all genres of anime. And
It's like saying cartoons are a genre.
Right, yeah, because they're really not. They're a medium. And, like, in no reality is Dragon Ball Z comparable on any level to something like Your Lie in April or Ancient Magus Bride, right? And yet,
Dragon Ball
these
Z
dudes
was
are
good.
like, do you watch anime? Okay, cool, prove it. Like, well, how many episodes of Dragon Ball Z are there? Like, fuck off.
But also, anime is mainstream now. Do you know how much we had to do to almost give our computer aids to watch anime? And now
Okay,
it's
I
everywhere?
used to buy those DVDs at Best Buy at $35 a pop that had like 4 episodes of Cowboy Bebop on them.
Like, come on, guys.
I can't tell you how much
I just
fucking
went
money I
through-
spent on that.
I literally just went through life and liked anime and minded my business. I didn't just in high school. I just didn't talk about it. I just
Yeah.
went home. I watched.
You know, back in the day,
and
you
I
didn't
went
talk
to-
about this shit.
Uh-uh.
You had nerd friends and you had
Grandma
other
did, yeah.
friends, and your nerd friends were not your other friends, and you kept your
Period.
shit to your nerd friends. You had like
Exactly.
your shit that you put in your binders. You had your nerdy sheet with like all of your anime characters that you printed out on like your grainy ass JPEGs from MySpace. That was behind your regular stuff,
that
and
was
that nerd
crispy
stuff
back
only
then.
came out for the nerd friends.
I just stashed mine like in an HTML file on my Neopets, like on their pages.
Mm-hmm.
Period. I'm sorry, Parker. So, Parker, was there any expectations that you guys had coming into the cosplay community?
No.
I did not expect her to get into it as much as she did. Like, not that that's a problem or anything, but it was very surprising how much she just grew into it. Like, she fell in love immediately.
It was supposed to be a one-time thing, and I decided to do Riju because he was playing Breath of the Wild at the time, and it felt really nice because then I could watch him play and also get to study the character, and he would take in-game screenshots. And honestly, that's where, so I'm an only child, and I feel, even as a person who's been in a relationship for 17 years, I am an individual, and I am going to remain that throughout my life. So I don't mind that he doesn't love everything that I love and that he's not into everything that I'm into. Like,
I find it particularly sweet because anime is not his thing. Like he loves Full Metal Alchemist and
Trigun.
Trigun, and those are really the major ones. But if I'm having a really shitty day and I'm just sitting here on the couch watching anime, he'll come and sit down and watch an episode. Has no idea what's happening, but he'll sit and he'll watch it with me, and that it those moments mean a lot to me that he's reaching up the peak to try to meet me where I'm at. And so there'll be moments like I finished Ifrit from Final Fantasy X, and that cosplay means so much to me because I watched him play that game and I had seen the artwork for so many years, but I never got to play it myself. So when he told me all about it and played it for me, he'll play a lot of games for me and I get inspired by those games. And then I take those characters and then I go do them. And it's just so that's also why I'll usually sneak in some Zelda something or other related, just as an homage to this handsome dude right here who's just he's patient and he's kind and I'm yeah, I don't have expectations that he be a part of my cosplay. I appreciate when he is and he helps. He did have this one thing for a period of time where I would ask him, like, if we're going to a convention, do you want me to make you something? And he would say no. And he'd say, I don't know, until like 2 days before the convention when he's like, oh, well, now I want to be.
I have an idea.
I have an idea. I'm like, okay. So we did not an Avengers once, which we thrifted all the pieces for that in a day. And then we did the Winter Soldier Bucky, and I managed to make his bionic arm out of a car window visor, which is where I started doing most of my thrifting and love for that and trying to do one day cosplays because of this one and his last minute requests. So he does also the kind of I owe you a cosplay. So if I do want to do something cute and fun, I try to make it accessible. Like we were going to be Mario and Luigi in onesies because they're comfy, but our air conditioning is being weird. So I'm in this. But he meets me where I'm at, and I really appreciate that. I don't have expectations that he be in cosplay, but I appreciate it when he does help, and he knows when it's big to me.
There's usually something there for me too. Like even just going to a convention, like as an avid gamer, there's always something there for me. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And we will usually have one day that is just dedicated to, like, if there's games, at least take one of those 3 days that's just dedicated to that, especially if I've had like a handler heavy day. Be kind to your handler, to people who are.
I didn't even think about that because most people are just like cosplayers, so there's not a lot of like cosplayer and gamer couples that I know. So like that's also a thing because those tournaments are all fucking days sometimes. So that's well, I mean, I know you're a gamer, but you're not like
you're not doing tournaments.
Yeah, you're not doing the fucking tournament.
Because
he did do a Rocket League tournament once though. That was really cool.
Yeah, that was actually the first cosplay you did. Was I did the Rocket League tournament at that same convention.
And I won my first award that same convention.
Yeah, and I lost.
Okay. Okay, so as far as my next question, how do you guys set aside time for intimacy? Like whether it's date night, whether it's, you know what, I'm just going to turn my phone off and I'm not going to be on social media, or like you said, I'm going to go to the con. The con is 3 days. We'll cosplay together this day. I'll do my own thing the next day and just the third day, maybe we'll go and buy something and we'll just like take the day just on the town. Like, how do you guys set aside time for intimacy just in the cosplay community and just being a married couple? Because again, with life and work, and some of you have children, some of you have multiple jobs or whatever. So like, what does that look like, comrade?
I mean, it doesn't really look like anything because in my experience, it's like, the definition of intimacy is very broad and it can take many forms. And for us, like, I consider it an active intimacy that every morning when my wife gets up at 5:30 to do her makeup, I get up and I make her breakfast.
That's
and then, there are times when we just sit here and I watch her play Disney Dreamlight Valley, and that's fun because, again, like, I don't care about that game. I don't give a fucking shit about Disney. Capitalism sucks, but like, I'll watch her play around with like cute characters and like tell Mickey to fuck off. That's good, and for me, that's the part that kind of, I mean, because, you know, like I said, it can take many different forms, and it doesn't have to be like sexy lingerie and shit. It can just be something as simple as, you know, hanging out with each other and
Yeah. Because, like, here's the thing.
That's
Cosplay is a time-consuming thing. You're
Yeah.
not going to make
Yes.
a cosplay super quickly. But the thing is that, like, the thing I keep kind of thinking about this is that, like, for some people, cosplay is the priority. So that takes over everything. And I think for everyone here, cosplay is not the priority. It is a hobby. It is a fun thing to do. But, like, life and your partner and your things take priority. So, like, yeah, when we're con crunching, we're not going to spend a ton of time together. But, you know, even at conventions, sometimes we're not going to spend a ton of time together.
I
But
don't know if that's necessarily true, because we do kind of spend time
we spend time next to each other.
next to each other.
Which, for us, is together, because we're both introverts.
Right.
So being just around each other is being
Yeah.
together. But, like, even at conventions, we always do dinner together.
Yeah.
Even if we have friends with us, we're always doing dinner together. We always get meals together. Even if he's got a full day of photo shoots and we've got panels and we've got a million things that we got to go do, we always have dinner together. We always, for us, one of the best things about conventions is getting to travel in the car together, because
yeah.
all we do is sit and talk to one another the entire ride. Because you can't really be on your phone.
You can, but, like, we've been together for, what, 7 years now? And
Yeah.
that's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of the things that, like,
But, like, my point is that we've been together for all this time. I don't think we've ever had a car ride where we were just like, oh, cool, this is an awkward silence for 17 hours. Like, fuck that, right? I think we've always been, like, very good at finding things to talk about and pass the time, which, I mean, I'll come clean right now. I have never been able to do that with any of my previous partners. You know, it's kind of refreshing and very humbling in a way, because, you know, it's like, oh shit, now I have to be, like, physically, like, mentally engaged in this. I can't just zone this person out. So I think that
But yeah.
that's yeah.
it's about, like, you know, prioritizing, yeah, but you find the little moments where you have them. You know, you have your nice conversations in the car on the way down. You know, maybe I'm sewing and he's making armor and we're in the same room together and we're watching the same thing. And because of who we are, we can't watch something without wanting to talk to each other about it. So we'll pause it and be like, hey, did you hear that? But even if we're not working together, even if I'm con crunching in the basement and he's up here doing, like, writing panels, we still are, like, we always have dinner together.
Yeah.
We always have breakfast together. Or, like, he always makes breakfast in the morning, so we're always up at the same time. So we get to have the little moments throughout the day that help keep it from feeling like we're roommates who
Yeah.
pass each other in the night.
I mean, a lot of it is routine, right?
Yeah.
But, like, routine can be good because it's, you know, you get used to it, but it doesn't have to be a bad thing.
And, you know, sometimes intimacy is playing separate games sitting in the room with each other.
Oh yeah, no, Baldur's Gate, dude, I love that shit. Cause I don't get to see the whole thing. I just get to see her part of it, and, like, I don't know, I'm here for it. But yeah, like, I think that, generally speaking, I don't think that I have to balance it against cosplay, because cosplay is kind of, like, not really that much of a priority for either of us. Like, I mean, it's still, like, an important thing that we do, but if it's a choice between
You know, getting to see each other.
or, like, doing a fucking cosplay, like, I'm not gonna do the cosplay. I don't care. Like, it's not that important. It can wait.
There's been multiple times that I've been like, I'm not going to have it done for the convention. I'm stressing. And he's like, just put it down.
Yeah, just don't
Do it for the next convention.
Because,
like, just
there's always another
come
convention.
have a drink. Calm down.
Yeah, there's always another convention. There's not really a need to prioritize something that you know you're gonna have trouble finishing and rushing it and just having it come out half-assed.
So what you're saying is I should have talked to toxic couples and not couples that are in love with each other and make the time.
I mean, it would have made for
everybody's
a
like,
way more interesting
like
discussion.
my partner, and everybody's like, no, because I love him, and like it should have been like, no, fuck that, because see, this is my career out here. You know, I'm in these streets, like.
Cosplay is not the priority. It's a fun thing, and you can always put the fun thing.
It should be a hobby, right. Exactly. It's just a hobby.
It's mom telling you to pause the video game.
Right.
You can pause it. You can put it down.
Unless it's Metal Gear.
Yeah.
Depending on the game, you can't pass it, Mom. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right, Brandy and Eight, how do you guys find the time to make the time and the intimacy and all that good stuff? Especially, like you said, you are a mom, you are booking events, he's performing at events. How do you
I sell
make
drugs and we're busy.
bet? Okay.
It's busy out here on the streets. I I've already had to learn how to do that anyway prior to meeting him, because when you got a whole ass human being looking at you like I need you to survive, you have to figure out how to have the moments for yourself and that human being. So I got divorced when he was about 3 and now he's going to be 16 and we're only 2 years in. So that whole time I'm doing it by myself and having to find a way to be a woman but be a mom. So I think I was able to have practice in that when new daddy came to town, because I'm like, well, I know I really wanted this, so we have to make space for that. So I think I was like probably overly accommodating because I was just so open to whatever when we got together. Like, hey, whatever you may need, whatever that looks like for you, just kind of let me know because I don't want you to leave me. And like so when we had our first date and realized we could talk for like 4 hours after we watched the movie, we were in the parking lot from about 8 something to 11. Like shit you not. So then it was like what they were saying. I count that moment as, wow, I had an intimate conversation with this guy. We can talk about anything. So as long, I think for us, even how now, because we're touching. So as long as we are around each other, we don't really have to plan a lot of stuff. I just think we genuinely like talking and being around each other. He watches anime sometimes that I'm not into, but say I'm gonna get into or whatever, and I'll be right on the side and I'll be looking to, like, at first I'll talk shit, I ain't gonna lie. And like this one looked like a boring one. Then I'm sitting down like, damn, they really did burn that whole city, huh? And I'm into it with him. Or I try to shut up when he's playing video games because I love watching him play video games, but I love watching YouTubers play video games. I'll sit for 3 hours watching somebody play. So when he's playing and he's just right here happy, I know that's like his time because he was used to living by himself before we moved in. And I still try to create that space for him to feel like he's doing something by himself, but we just like being around each other. So I think that routine part is fun.
And I think like since one of my biggest love languages is physical touch, I make sure that she gets pretty much intimacy from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed. So and that's every day. Like
No, he hasn't
without
missed a
fail.
beat. He
Like
has
without
not missed
fail,
a
that's
beat.
every day. So I even got her more into like PDA. So it's like
She's a cat, is what you're saying.
No. As I share like probably a sad story, and shut up, Shanae, because we'd be laughing at our tragedy. So because of the physical abuse, physical abuse is not funny, but Shanae and I are fucking dumbass because of the physical abuse, because of the abuse and the trauma. Because of that, my love language was not physical touch. I felt like either I'm in trouble or you want something from me. I didn't think people just wanted to hold hands or put around. So the first date, I was like a gingerbread man because I'm like, what's happening? And now I'm like, you did not kiss me, or I like come here and cuddle me. Like I get crazy about it, but he doesn't miss a beat. And with what you said about fixing her breakfast at 5 a.m., I melted when I heard that because I'm like,
Because now he about to start cooking breakfast at
no,
5
because
a.m.
I'm the cook. I don't want it. I'm good. I know my role and I'm fine with that. But he, even with us living together, he never misses a beat just texting me. Like he'll always wake me up with kisses. He doesn't play about that. And when he comes in the house, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I already know he wants a hug, he wants a kiss. We hold each other, and that's what he needs. And I love it. But what also amazes me is that it takes the time. It was so sweet, it made her sick. She ran off. When he makes the time to text me, just good morning, I love you, after saying it to me, after kissing me. And it just blows my mind because I'm like, wow, I didn't realize I like that routine, like you guys were saying. But also, what we're going to work on, and this ain't, for everybody, but I know some couples need it. I'm a bit extra, so I like the date nights. I like going to certain restaurants. I like being out and about, being seen, wearing a cute outfit, stunting on these hoes. I need that moment every once in a while. And that is like the furthest thing of something he's worried about. But I love that we decided, all right, well, at least we have these date nights so I can experience a new restaurant around Cleveland that I'm pressed about going to. He dresses in a way where I'm like, oh, I like that because it's not like T-shirts and ball shorts, because when I get dressed up, I like being dressed up, and it's something small, but I like that he hears me on that. And even when he buys certain things now, he's like, I wanted to show, babe, that I can look nice, I can dress up. And he laughs when I say that, but that was one of the sweetest things he could say, because that's important to me. It may not be to everyone else, but it's about knowing your partner and what's important to them, just like it's important to him sometimes that we don't do shit. We shut some weekends down sometimes because we do so much, with me trying to push my events and hosting, and then our kid, and then with him, just all of his music. And with the music stuff, it's like, even if there's not a convention to go to, this is music we're trying to get popped off. So it's always something to do on that. So sometimes we just need those moments where we're not doing anything and agreeing with him, mentally, and when his body physically is telling him I need a break, protecting that and shutting down like people from being like, oh, can y'all come to this? Can we do that? No, no is a complete sentence, an anointed word. And so we try to have intimacy in that way of just not doing anything and not planning anything. So whatever that looks like, we just try to adjust and meet each other where we're at. Because again, I don't know what we're going to need from each other a year from now or 10 years from now. But as long as we keep talking to each other about, this is who I am right now in this season of life, this is what I need, we're so focused on making each other happy that there's rarely conflict with that type of stuff.
Right.
Nelly.
Yeah, kind of just what everyone else has been saying. Like I said earlier, me and Lorenzo,
I'll find me some toxic people next time.
we have a lot of.
Get some drama.
I can. We could get. We can.
Everybody
get
here's so nice.
Right.
Dealing with these females,
Listen, let me tell you something about Lorenzo. Lorenzo is a magnet for white women. I don't know what it is. Teachers. I know you don't like people. I'm saying they like you.
Everybody likes
I know, but like when he gets sick and his voice gets a little deep.
He's so he's over it. He's over it.
No, it's the same. Because we genuinely like spending time together, that's usually what our intimacy looks like outside of like sexy times and stuff. We'll be in the same room reading different books, or we'll be in the same room reading the same book. We got, we like a lot of the same things, so that definitely helps. So even when we don't, we'll just be doing things in each other's space. I just like to see them and be near them and touch them a lot, because I know one of my love languages is definitely physical touch. And I know one of Lorenzo's is not, but he caters to that for me. I know he does not like hugs. He don't like hugging random people or hugging most people at all, but he will still come, give me hugs. I get a kiss on the forehead every morning before he leaves, because he leaves at the crack ass of dawn. So I don't be up. But I think something that we've gotten really good at doing over the years is like filling in the gaps for each other. Being married or being together isn't always about someone a 50-50 split all the time. There's that analogy, like you can give 20, they can give 80. Like, it's one of those days. And that's something that's definitely come into play more, I think, after we had a kid. It was like that adjustment period's really hard. I have a really hard time letting things go. I like controlling things. Like I'm the main driver, because I do not like letting other people drive me around. I genuinely love being in control of the car. And so he lets me drive most times when we go places, unless like he knows I'm overwhelmed, then he'll be like, I'll drive. And that's happened a lot with our child Zeke, as he has like gotten older and stuff. I knew when I first had him, I was very hard at letting people do things for him. I'm like, no, I need to do it. I'm the mom. I need to do it. And even when you are with someone that you're going to have a kid with and is competent, it was still really hard to let that go. But I feel like through that, I've definitely gotten better at letting other people do things. And he's really good at filling in those gaps when I'm overwhelmed. Like that's something, our intimacy has grown a lot. He can tell when I'm getting a little too anxious or a little overwhelmed. He'll step in and take away or try to help take away whatever's overwhelming or ask or whatever. But yeah, generally our intimacy looks like being together majority of the days, because we're both homebodies. I've learned that I'm way more introverted than I thought I was, because I had to be an extrovert growing up. So I'm way more introverted now. But it's been nice.
Yeah, and going off what she says, just like I am the true introvert, but I have to be an extrovert all day. every day. So sometimes it's coming in like, oh, I still have to be an extrovert for this kid and this woman real quick, huh? But at the same time, it's just like when I want to like, hey, I'm tired of talking, I don't have to say, oh, I don't feel like talking anymore. Just sit there and be at peace, look at the ceiling for a little bit because I'm tired of talking. Like I've taught 8 hours a day and dealt with kids who lie on their homework and, deal with all that and stuff like that. So, and then when we go on trips and stuff like that, like, oh, let's listen to a book. She said we were listening to one of our favorite artists the other day, and we're just like, I'm just glad that we get to enjoy this together. So, because there's people who don't like the same music, so it's just being able to talk about our favorite artists, whether it's music, books, games. Like sometimes I just want to come in and play Smash Bros. Aimlessly for 30 minutes, like here and there, or play a one-player game just because I'm the oldest of six, and we didn't get to do that when I was a kid. So it's nice to be able to do that, even if I don't do it for a long time, because Zeke's a menace and he don't let nobody do nothing. It's about finding that balance. Like on the weekends, I make breakfast while she sleeps in a little bit because she's been getting up she has Zeke every morning. So in the mornings, I grab Zeke, make breakfast. Um, that's just a way of showing love and appreciation and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, just finding balance, finding out what each other likes and stuff like that, and what you need without needing to say it all the time too. I think has been good for us because been together since we're 19. So
I do want to tell a story though.
I don't think we want to hear it.
Too
Hey.
bad. Whenever we first had Zeke, Lorenzo's a cross country coach, so he gets up like 4 a.m. So we first had him. I was so overwhelmed. It was maybe month 2 or 3, not even that long. It may be month 1. Zeke wouldn't go to sleep. It was like 3 a.m. I had been up all night. I was in his room crying with the crib, just trying to rock him. He wouldn't go to sleep, and I was like, "It's fine. I'm fine." You know how you tell yourself a lie, so you believe it. And Lorenzo was getting ready to go to work, and he came in. And he's like, "Just give me the baby." I'm like, "You gotta go to work. You gotta go." And I'm just like crying. He's like, "Just give me the baby and step out, and it'll be fine." And so I did, and I don't know how he calmed Zeke down, but Zeke went back to sleep after that, and I got a good little cry in, a little postpartum cry, but it was good. It's just really important to, especially if you want to create a life with someone, that you like that person, one, and two, that they're willing to sacrifice things for you, because like marriage isn't always about compromise, sometimes about sacrifice. So, you know.
Oh, that's so sweet. Parker, what about you? Because I do know for a fact that sometimes you'll get online and you'll update everybody and you want people to know what you're working on and stuff like that. But then it'll be times where you just go radio silent and you're like, I just want to play the game with my husband. So, like, what does that look like for you?
Oh yeah, I get tunnel vision pretty badly when it comes to cosplay projects, and we've talked about it through the years about, hey, it's okay to interrupt me, and he's very good about being like, hey, he recognizes the stress symbols too, and the pacing when I don't realize that I'm doing it, and he'll be like, hey, maybe you should stop and let's just do something else. Or a lot of our intimacy looks like we'll do things like bed days where we will just there are no plans. There's no going out. We're not doing anything. The only idea is that we stay in bed all day together. We can craft if like sometimes he'll play games and I'll craft. Sometimes we'll both just stare into random YouTube. Sometimes we'll watch stupid movies. Sometimes we'll have a drink or some pizza. It doesn't really matter. The only thing is that we stay in that bed all day long, and that's it. And those days I feel really help us to kind of reset, and it because I can have fun with anybody at a concert or at a show or any of that stuff. That's all great, but being with someone and having fun with them when you're not doing the most extravagant stuff, that feels like intimacy to me. That feels like love to me, and like take me for an errand run, like that's closeness to me. So there will be days when, as much as I love cosplay and all that stuff, I just you have to not be available to other things because otherwise you'll never make space for yourself. And as much as I enjoy all that, my relationship means more to me, and this has been better for me in the long run. So I that's what intimacy looks like to me. Are there any things that you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, but I forgot what I was going to say. It was some. I didn't really appreciate what Janelle said about filling in the gaps. That really rung true with me because I think a lot of times it was really hard for me to figure out how to, or like where my place was in her cosplay because she is very driven and very headstrong. So when the cosplay's got to get done, it's got to get done. And sometimes I just got to freaking break my way in there and be like, obviously this cosplay is getting done. How can I help you? And so yeah, I think learning where I can fill in those gaps and how to approach her about she's taken on too much work that she can handle, I think is a good representation of that kind of intimacy.
Mhm. Another thing that he does that I just absolutely love is because our styles are very different when it comes to some of the things that I like and the things that he likes, but we both love video games a lot. I just don't play them as much because I'm doing 6,000 other things at the same time. Um, so one of the things that he'll do is that like what's it? Not Elden Ring, but Dark Souls. Because I really loved all of the art, like just the artwork and style of Dark Souls, he went and learned the entire backstory through just various YouTube things so he could tell me the story of what was happening when he was playing things in game, which is a great way to not only because I love watching him play games. I don't care to watch that on Twitch. Like I'm not going to sit there and watch somebody stream it, but I grew up with like my cousins and my older people in my life playing games and talking to me about the game. So he does that kind of stuff. He'll learn the backstory of the game or the story written within and then tell me all about it while he's playing. So it also makes me want to invest more to learn more about the story. And then sometimes like he'll play while I'm working on cosplay so that at least if I have to be sitting here stuck in this thing, I'm doing it with him too. So we're together in that way. And that really helps.
Okay, so time is winding down and people are getting tired and all that good stuff. So I want to do two more things and then I want to have you guys go on about your night. So, basically one of the last questions that I have, and then I'll go on to just if anybody wants to fill in with any tips that they feel like I did not address here or whatever. But for this last like question I have, if anybody could be transparent or vulnerable in this moment, that would be appreciated. So I was talking to another couple that will probably come on down the road, but they wanted to add compromise. Like somebody said something about sacrifice, that it's not, compromise and stuff like that. So like what like how do you navigate heated situations or fights, discussions? What does that compromise or sacrifice look like? What are the deal breakers? Like you got like if we're having a conversation and you start yelling, it's like, all right, boom, I can't take the yelling. I'm gonna take a second, like Alex said, take a walk or whatever. Like how do you navigate that? How do you move on and go forward? Starting with Comrade.
We don't.
Okay, I mean, so beyond, we've had a fight. We've had a couple
I
fights.
mean, yeah, but I would not classify those as fights.
I said you don't have to, tell us
I
what
would
the fight
classify
was or
them as
anything.
disagreements.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
like there have been times that emotions got heavy, where like
Yeah.
we were both mad at each other, and generally the way that gets handled is that we don't go at each other. Neither of us are incredibly confrontational people. Both of us are very conflict avoidant people.
Yep.
So if we're mad at each other to the point of like
Yep.
getting at each other, we will like bring up the issue, and then we're separate from one another.
Yep.
Like
We
we're
get
up.
some physical space.
Yeah, like I'm in the basement, he's upstairs,
Right.
and we're separated for a little while, dealing with our feelings about it,
Yep.
and having that like, because there's always that slight moment of like, am I being the unreasonable one?
Oh, it's not a slight moment. It's always that's always in the back of my mind.
You have that moment of like, I'm really upset about this. Am I being the unreasonable one? And then you have to kind of like back through that. And then sometimes it's within a couple hours. Sometimes it's the next morning. There's the conversation about what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the like, it's usually the both of us will come at it with an, I'm sorry.
Yep.
You usually you take a moment. And you're like, clearly, I did something, even if I think I'm not,
Yeah.
a massive asshole in this situation. Not that anyone's a massive asshole in this situation, but you have this moment of like, I'm sorry about this, and we'll have like our mutual sorries, and then we'll talk about like, this is what I was feeling that led to this moment that led to this breakdown.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, it's not the easiest conversation in the world, but it's a lot better than still being mad at each other.
Yeah.
The thing that always helps is the cuddle.
Yeah.
Is the I'm not mad at you cuddle.
Yeah.
It's the like, I'm mad but I'm not mad at you snuggle.
I think it's helpful to remember that, like, no matter how much you scream and shout and throw things at each other, the problem will still be the problem. You know, like, you can tear at your clothes until you're blue in the face, but that's not going to fix the issue. Which is something that I learned very well from my prior marriage. That was fun.
Trauma.
His ex liked to scream a lot.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, it's one of those things that like, feel your feelings, have your moment, do your thing.
No,
but,
I
like,
mean, yeah, it's important to validate that.
At the end of it, remember, it's you two. It's not
you against
two
the other
against each
person.
other.
It's you against the problem.
Yeah, it's solving a problem.
Yeah.
And coming up with a solution to that problem. Because obviously something major happened to put you guys in this situation.
Yep.
So yeah, it's, you know, it's hard to navigate, but once you get into the rhythm, it's, you know, like we said earlier, it's about having the not rhythm, the schedule. What's the word? Routine. Yeah, it's like once you figure out how you solve problems together and how you deal with conflict, you have like your little roadmap to do it in the future.
Thank you. Brandy, 8.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with what she said. But I will add, because when you guys were talking and then he goes, he whispers to me, not this one. And I was like, you think I'm just confrontational? Like, I just be coming at you crazy? And I was like, I don't want to be confrontational because it's like telling a woman to calm down. It's like, I'm all of a sudden hyped as fuck. So we typically attack the problem, not each other. I praised him consistently and us on just how we problem solve. And like 98% of our conflicts is business shit. And prior to him, I was praying like, Lord, whoever I get, I don't ever want to have the same problems I did in a marriage or relationship. Like, let it be new problems. And so we normally like, we'll go back and forth about that, but it's clear that, you know, that's the issue. I think I found out through just listening to them talk about this, my trigger for that last one where I was out of line, y'all. I was out of line because of how I came at him, because I came home and it was already like maybe 9 or 9:30 because I was out on a business meeting. And I woke his ass up because I was like, nope, right now we're having this conversation. That was like low vibrations for me, but I was triggered because I have a thing about, this is like the second or third time we've talked about this. Now in his head, how he processed it, he's like, yeah, we talked about this, but I did not know you specifically wanted me to do this, this, and this. Had I known that, I would have handled it like that. And in that moment, even though we were going back and forth for a minute, because it almost got good and petty because we both got smart mouths. And I realized we both started basically rapping at each other, like hands was going like, I was like, oh, okay, so we're here. But I remembered in that moment when his tone changed, because normally how he's talking to y'all, he always talked that way. When his tone changed, I felt this big, and not in a bad way, like I felt like he was going to do something to me or whatever. It made me feel like I did start this off wrong. This man is probably just now awake, and we're at 45 minutes in now. I was dead ass wrong for that. And then realizing I chose somebody correctly this time who is always looking out for me and putting me first. He is allowed to make a mistake or a bad decision or whatever it may be. I'm just spoiled and used to him treating me like this and handling everything almost perfect. Allow room for him to be human, Brandy. Like, chill the fuck out. So I had to course correct in that moment. And then I felt so bad. I was apologizing for like 2 days. He's like, you're fine. I was like, I'm just so sorry.
And
really
again, fellas, choose life. Choose life.
Stop
I
saying
will
that.
be an advocate for that all night. Choose life. Happy wife, happy life.
He did say that though. He was like, whatever I need to do.
Because my thing is, like, the way I look at it, whatever this roadblock or issue is, it's nowhere near a fraction of how important you are. Like, period. So whatever I need to do to eliminate this issue, because I choose you and not the issue, let's do it. Let's get it out the way. Like, what are we still talking about? It don't exist. It don't exist no more because you do. So like I see you, I don't care about whatever that is. It's not that important. So and then not to invalidate what made her mad though either. You know what I'm saying? I had to make sure that she felt seen and that how she felt was validated and it was important.
That
It
was
was
this.
her.
That was me.
And and then so after we got through that, it was just like, okay, let me know exactly how you need me to handle this, and it will be done immediately, so that we don't have this issue no more. And then boom.
And he laid enough groundwork prior to that where it was like, girl, you can trust him. So sometimes we have to realize that's my own shit, my own wounding. I need to self-soothe on this and not make him wrong for that. And I'm not speaking for every woman, but given my experience and those that decide to be transparent around me, we could be dragging stuff out and talking a lot. And it's like, hey, make this concise, wrap it the fuck up. He got your point. You get his. Let's move forward so we're not just dragging this out. Because prior to him, with a girlfriend of mine, I had like a midnight rule where whatever was bothering me for that day, whether we were bitching about people at work or something with one of my family members, by midnight I need to let this go, especially if it's not like a high level traumatic thing that happened where police need to be involved or a priest has to be called. It's not that deep. I can let it go by midnight and keep it moving. And I think that that rule within myself helps, because sometimes it's about controlling me and my negative emotions and not trying to make him the bad guy or controlling him. And I think if more people kind of focused on that separately, when you're tackling things together, it's a little easier.
And I'm never going to bed mad at my girl, ever.
Yeah, we don't like that.
I'm never going to bed.
I
mad
tried,
at
and then I felt shitty about that. I was like, I think I need to be held.
it's just if I don't do anything else, I'm going to bed and we gonna love on each other and we'll figure it out tomorrow. But as of right now, that shit don't matter.
Oh, gay. Nelly Nelly and Lo, like I want to know like how you guys have dealt with conflict and stuff like that over the years, because again, like you said, you were in college, you've been together since you were like 19, and you know in your 20s, and 20s is a wild time because it's like you kind of get a little bit of freedom, but you're an adult, and then you also make stupid decisions, and then like I said, from being girlfriend to boyfriend to being husband and wife to being parents, like quite sure there's, like you said, there's been a lot of different stages and different people that you've dealt with within each other. So like how have you guys tackled that over the years?
We just be chilling.
Yeah, a lot of people say that oh y'all, I've never heard y'all fight. Y'all don't fight. I'm like, that's because we don't, our business is our business. It's not really like when you start bringing too many people into your relationship, bad things are going to happen because it's just too many eggs in the basket, you know? But I think it helps that we're constantly talking to each other, like just about anything and everything, dumb thoughts in our head. Like there's usually a constant flow of communication. So as things come up, we just talk, and it just keeps talking. And that's kind of helped us, like, as we've gotten better at communicating and stuff over the years, that's kind of helped us, like, if I do something that hurts him, he tells me, and I'm a really huge hate hurting people. I love, like, the guilt will eat at me. I do not like going to bed mad at people. I don't like going to bed knowing people are mad at me. It just brings me a lot of anxiety. So if I've done anything that he didn't like or wrong to him, he'll tell me. I will do my damn hardest to auto correct that. So I try not to repeat the same thing or do it again. If I do, it's like one of those, hey, this is the same, whoop, red flag, same thing you did. I'm like, you're right, that's stupid. I'll do my best not to do that again. If he does something that's upsetting me, I'm just like, hey, like this make me feel the ick, feel a little bit icky about this. And we talk about it. We definitely have feel good snuggles at night, and I think always coming back to center into who we are as a couple at night definitely helps. But yeah, it's just a constant flow of talking over the years and getting to know what the other likes and doesn't like. And when you kind of fill that out, you automatically just don't do things that are going to push that person past the limit that they're willing to accept anyway, to make them mad. And Lorenzo's also just temperament of an angel. He is the slowest to anger person I've ever met. Have I made him angry? Absolutely. And that should be a testament to how good I am at making people mad. But he definitely has such a slow to anger personality. But when he is mad, you won't know. But it does take a long time for it to get there. But yeah, just I think I think it's been the constant communication, but I don't know what that's how.
For me, I just think about it matters even if it doesn't matter to you and it matters to them, like take it seriously. Like for me, like I'm leaving at 4:30 in the morning and the door is open. She was like, "Yeah, close the door." I'm like, "Why? You going back to sleep? Who cares if the bathroom door is open?" Like, and so that's just been big. Like, because again, I don't care. Not that I don't care about a lot, but like a lot of things don't bother me. Like I'm chill. I'm laid back. If I don't care, I just it's not because I lack of caring. It's just like it's not that big of a deal. So I see what matters to her, and I try to make that a priority. Like if there's something she just doesn't like or like to do or something like that, I just knock it out, take care of it, and stuff like that. And yeah, that's a big thing. Like even if it doesn't matter to you and it matters to them, do it. Like and or not do it because yeah. So and again, just the constant communication. Like we've known each other for a while, so we automatically know cues and stuff like that. And sometimes it does things don't need to be said. We realize like, yeah, we was probably tripping when we said X, Y, and Z or something like that. Um, and don't linger on it. Move on. Don't talk about it the next day. And I don't talk bad about my wife to nobody. Like I don't like none of my not my boys. Like
Absolutely
nobody.
nobody.
Like so there's not like no outside people chirping like, oh yeah, I heard you did this. Like it's never that. Like I don't care who you are. Like um I'm always positive. I always uplift her. Like even like coworkers, they're like, yeah, my wife this. I'm like, my wife dope. So
Couldn't I don't I ain't never heard of that because
like I don't believe in it. It doesn't help anything. I get like a lot of people like to vent their things out. I'm like, that's not for the world,
yeah. Like, doesn't your
because
husband get on your nerves? I mean, I love him.
everybody gets on my nerves.
I've
Everybody gets
always
on my
been wondering
nerves.
about that because it's like I've had people who are like, "Oh, my girlfriend did this," or like my fiance did that. I'm like, then why are you marrying them?
Exactly.
Like, if they're pissing you off this much, like, is this just the next logical step?
Feel like there's such a negative connotation on marriage
Right.
that people think that, oh yeah, get married and oh yeah, you get the ball and chain now,
You can
get
just say
ready.
whatever you want
Yeah,
about them. I'm
yeah,
like,
like yeah, marriage is hard, but it's not supposed to be miserable. It's
yeah,
not supposed to be like something you don't enjoy. And that's something like as a teacher, over kids, like I want my kids to know like you can be in a healthy relationship. So my wife and Zeke come around all the time. So they see a healthy relationship and knowing like, oh yeah, getting married isn't this bad thing. They see you can be happy, you can have kids and have a good time and stuff like that. And they see us like play around with each other. They see us like not bicker, but like, oh yeah, normal relationship things. And so like my kids did a video for Janelle for her birthday. It's really weird and bad. So she'll see it on in two
who
days.
did a what for my what?
You know how Lauren you know how Lauren is.
Oh, I'm gonna cry. That's
It's
so
no,
sweet.
it's terrible. It's terrible. Don't cry.
Oh, but I
I
love
asked her to
them.
stop. So, but yeah, and trying to put like a negative or more positive spin on just marriage in general. Like so many friends, like, oh yeah, complain. I'm like, not doing that. It
It's also
doesn't, and it
just
doesn't fix
exhausting.
anything
Yeah,
either.
it's just tiring.
Like I'll deal with it, and y'all aren't going to help me. And so, yeah, that's something that we do. We just keep it in house. Like when people say they don't see us fight, it's because it's true. Like I'm not fighting around y'all. Um, this is between us, and yeah, y'all don't need to see that. And yeah, I don't want anybody to have a negative connotation with her because of a
Yeah,
disagreement that we had.
exactly.
Um, yeah, so yeah, that's how we kind of do things.
Now, if he was beating me or something, I'll tell y'all. But other than
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
don't hurt people,
that, I know.
but I got hands.
People think I'm the mean one in this relationship. Just so we're clear, they think I'm the mean one just because he's quiet.
But I will.
Say that. Say that.
Parker and Alex, how do you guys deal with that kind of stuff?
Oh, a lot of the same, I would say, for that Lo and Nelly handle it. If I would add anything to that, I also cannot stand those people who want to be on the whole ball and chain thing or I don't understand it. I don't enjoy it. And I am a person who believes that your partner is a reflection of your choices. So if you were talking shit about that person, you were talking shit about your choices, which means you do not respect yourself. And I don't know why I would want to be around you either. So I just try not to keep people like that in my life who only want to speak negatively about their relationships or their friends or the people in their life because clearly you just want to be miserable about something. And when it comes to arguments between us, I would say that we're actually pretty good about talking through those things and respecting boundaries of how you should speak to another human being in any sort of fight. It is you two versus the issue, not you two versus each other. Um, so I always try to be very mindful of the things that I'm saying and not use language that is attacking him or his character because it's 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 childish. It's just childish. Like you don't need to be attacking a person. You can talk about the issues and what you're feeling.
Yeah, I don't think I really have anything to add to that.
Look at you guys on the same page. Okay. So, last but not least, is there anything that I did not bring up in this conversation that anybody wants to add to the collective, that wants to put out in the world? Good juju, good tips, anything that I did not say, starting with Alex and Conrad, especially because I had this idea. I had this idea after reading the book. That is in the flyer that we made or whatever, and I bought it to Alex and Kate first, just because I'm like, I love them, I love their friendship, I value their marriage
Gross.
and everything. So they had already had the idea to do this at a con and do this as a panel anyway, so I hope that if anything this was like a blueprint that helps you guys. So starting off with you guys, is there anything that you want to say that I did not add?
Divide the labor. Because here's the thing. Particularly in cosplay, if we're sticking particularly to cosplay, it's a frustrating hobby. Your first plan on how to make something is never going to work out. You're always going to be changing things last minute, adjusting things. The first idea you have on how something's going to work is not how it works. And so if you're trying to like figure something out and solve a problem, and your partner is with you trying to help you solve the problem, that can often produce more frustration because you work a certain way, your partner works a certain way. If you're not working the exact same way, you're going to get mad at each other. So divide the labor. I've been sewing since I was a child. He's great at working with foam. Foam makes no sense to me. So I do most of the sewing, he does most of the prop making. That way we're still near each other, we're still working together, but we're not in each other's thing and getting too many cooks in the kitchen and frustrating one another even further over something that's already frustrating. So,
yeah, there's that old meme like, oh, cooking together is so romantic. No, the fuck is not. It's horrifying. Like, it's one person per kitchen.
Yeah. So
Amen. Don't come in the kitchen.
divide the labor.
Except Ziggy Tom.
Even in like your home life, divide the labor. He usually I usually take care of the cat litter. Like when we do laundry, he washes it, I fold it.
Yep.
Divide the labor into what you can handle, because if you're always stuck doing something you don't like doing, you're gonna resent that you're doing it.
Right.
So divide it so that you guys, like, you can't always only do the chores that you like, but you can at least minimize the chores you don't like.
Sure. Yeah. And yeah, I guess if I had to say something, and this isn't for anybody in this panel, but it's definitely for everybody who's going to watch this, listen to me. Straight men, wash your ass. Wash your ass. Like, with water and soap.
And get a haircut.
Yeah.
I don't fucking care about
Before you
hair.
ever
Wash
get on the
your
stream,
asshole.
get a haircut.
And then just, do the things your partner likes. Like, I when we got together, I was very bad about being vocally affectionate. It was not a thing I was used to. I was raised by a military dad. That was not a thing in my household.
I don't know why I thought you were gonna be like, I was raised by wolves, and I was like,
No, that was me.
Me too.
No,
Communist wolves.
So I had to learn how to do it, and so I started learning how to do it. And so, like, every single day, I tell him, I like you. Like, that's my default greeting to him is, hi, I like you.
Gross.
Yeah.
Affection
like,
is gross. Do it again.
To the point that we were visiting my family, and my mom got annoyed with me with how often I was telling him that I liked him and that I loved him and that I care about him. She's like, I get it, it's enough. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Well, here's the thing. She says that, and I'm like, you're so gross, like, whatever, affection. Like, it's good.
Yeah.
You know, like, I like it, which is, it's nice to be reminded of that.
Yeah. Do the things that remind your partner that you like them.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's saying it, sometimes it's bringing them things.
I don't
Sometimes
say
it's...
it, but I'll bring you breakfast every goddamn morning unless
Yeah.
I've been up until, like... And, like, the one time that this week that I was not actually able to get you breakfast, it's because I was up until 3 in the morning fixing the water in the basement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, it's do the things your partner likes. They often require very minimal effort on your part.
Yeah. But also wash your ass. Mainly wash your ass.
Brandy and 8, what do you say?
You know what I'm gonna say.
No.
Fellas.
Oh my God.
Choose life.
This is why people think I beat you.
Choose life.
And this is also why I beat you.
Think twice if you need help.
If you bash in the back of the head, less bruises, ladies. No. I'm big on again, before I met him, I was in counseling and I had a love coach. I'm always gonna say exhaust whatever options you can to be working on your own shit and fix yourself. Because yes, we're gonna, thug this out until one of us is in the ground.
I
But
ain't going first.
She said,
Should we be worried or?
Not should we be worried? Girl, let me get my blink on.
You need help, blink twice.
What? Anyway,
she really said me?
no, because I wasn't expecting that. But again,
How do you know? Like,
people be thinking like it's me because I am the more extroverted one of the two of us. His name is Crazy Eighth Grade, highlighted on the crazy. Something ain't right.
Okay.
But I'm big on
the couch.
doing your own work on yourself, so you're not really bringing so much on your partner. And then when life starts lifing, we can do a better job attacking whatever may come up. Instead of now I'm dealing with my childhood wounds because my daddy shit, and then your stuff, and then this new thing because of the kid or because of the job or whatever. And then I also tell my girlfriends, be a good lawyer for your man, for your relationship. A good lawyer, whether guilty, innocent. Look, I'm not about to say nothing wild about my client. And so that goes to what you guys were saying, whether it's some of the bitter women on my mom's side of the family that like to cackle and talk their shit. I'm like, I'm good. Or girlfriends that we used to just almost like man bash together over brunch, but it's like, I'm not in that place. It's not the type of guy I'm with. And I am okay with hearing somebody out because we're human. We need each other at times. So use discernment and who you tell what to. And I also do the same thing when I'm listening to friends that talk to me about relationship stuff. I'm like, what type of friend do I need to be right now? Because if I don't need to be the girl that's like, bitch, leave him, conversation over, you might not want to, tell me some things. So that might be where I go. So just be a good lawyer for your man in your relationship and just watching what you say and watching what you intake. Because without knowing it, sometimes somebody else's stressful situation, too much on you can cause y'all stress and conflict. And the next thing you know, your partner's like, I don't want them and them over like that anymore because you ran your mouth too much because she was running her mouth to you. I experienced that too many times in the marriage, and I don't want that again. So that's my advice for people out there.
And to piggyback on watching what you say, I think in a relationship, it's important that you be what you and who you say you are. So if you tell your partner you're a provider, be that. If you tell your partner you're a lover, be that. Like, just be who you say you are so that they don't have to be surprised when you try to flip the script or you fall short of something that you tried to oversell them. Be exactly who you say you are, and you shouldn't really have no issue.
Yeah, that works out. And then for those moments when you are triggered and you wake your partner up because you're just like, it's time to be a bitch, you'll be able to go back on, you know what, 90% of the time, 98% of the time, 8 does what he says he's going to do, and he goes above and beyond for me in ways that I didn't even think I needed. He changed.
I choose.
Amen.
So it's remembering that the man that changed my love language is still that guy, even if I am triggered or hurt right now, and we can just come back to that place where we're not at each other's necks. So.
Just want y'all to know, y'all keep saying choose life, and Comrade is triggered because he doesn't want to be here. So choose your
Let's be real. I never want to be anywhere, okay?
It's a great part of being married. You get to use your spouse to get out of doing things.
Terrible.
I give him. He has carte blanche to tell people, no, my wife says I can't.
Yeah.
Just so we don't have to.
First of all, he just says no. He doesn't even blame
you.
I have
like
yet
the
to
best
use
thing
that. I'm
about
just
having
like,
a
do
kid.
you want to go? No.
No.
Like, I don't even have to hear the rest of that sentence.
Love it.
No.
I just want you guys to know, like, being his friend, like, people ask me, like, I am his keeper. They're like, hey, Comrade, he's not talking to me. Why do you think that is? Why are you coming to me with this information? Of course I know the information. I'm not going to tell it to you. Talk to him. Like, yes, he hates you. Anyway. Nelly and Lo, what say you? Drop some gems on us. Take us back one time.
All right, you're listening to 98.7 Love Hour.
Talk to him.
Uh, um,
Say that.
I don't know. I guess my biggest thing is I like to believe I'm his number one fan. Like if he's doing something, I'm in his corner. Um, uh, unless it's murder, I'm probably in that corner. I'm gonna be. That's my man. It does depend on who you right. I'm gonna take that back. This is my man, my man, my man. Like I'm always gonna be rooting for him. I'm always going to talk him up. He could be shoveling a snail, and I'll be like, look at him over there with that snail. I bet, ooh, that snail don't even know what's about to come. It's about to get shoveled. I didn't think it was, but it's fine. But yeah, I guess, I think everything's been very much said, but yeah, I think being your person's number one fan is the least you could do to accommodate someone in your life.
I would say just do you and not get caught up in everybody else. Like everybody be like, oh yeah, that couple does X, Y, and Z. Like that ain't got nothing to do with you. Like y'all don't like that. So why would you want to travel across the world? Y'all are homebodies. And then even as an individual, like now being a dad and a husband and then being a teacher is like, oh, I need to find time for myself. So at the same time, do the things that you like. Because if you're always constantly giving all the time, then you're going to start resenting the people that you love and stuff like that because you didn't take care of yourself and didn't communicate that, especially my man out there. So take care of yourself. I think that is very, very important in relationships because you shouldn't put the burden on somebody to take care of you when you know your needs as well. Like you need to go to sleep, or you need to have a nice long anime binge or something like that. So take care of yourself. Do the things that you like and just stay yourself. Like us, like we have a Zeke, but that doesn't mean we don't go outside and have a volleyball game randomly with our friends and stuff like that. I remember posting like, oh yeah, we're having a 2 a.m. game night, and people got in my messages like, yeah, that's about to stop.
It did not.
It has not stopped.
Not even a little bit.
It has not stopped. We might have one tomorrow.
We probably will.
So yeah, just be yourself. Like even as you get kids and stuff like that, like enjoy life. Like you don't have to put the things that you like on pause because you're in a relationship or you have a kid. Like you're still a person. Like I think a few people have said like we're individuals, and that shouldn't be put on pause. So and do you as a couple and as an individual.
And like to piggyback off that on the whole kid front, listen. I will tell people up and down, do not have kids. And they'll look at me and they're like, you like Zeke? I'm like, I like Zeke.
My dog.
Don't have kids.
Don't do it.
But outside of that, if you are choosing to bring a person into this world, you need, before you even do any of that, make sure you have a village. I can't stress that enough. If you do not have people in your corner who like you, they are not going to like your kid at all. Like they're not going to magically start liking the kid because they like, no. Something that's definitely helped us like so much is to be surrounded by amazing people who go above and beyond, not just for us, but for Zeke constantly. And they don't necessarily expect anything in return outside of just love and a thank you. But
and my food sometimes.
And sometimes Lorenzo has to get in the kitchen and throw down something, a little something every now and then. But it's been, I can't ever express or thank those people. And like, obviously some of them are in this chat and I love y'all. Body down. I could not have done half this parenting stuff without most of my village. But no, it's been, if you're in a relationship, get in a relationship, planning on having a kid, village. If you don't have a village, don't even do it.
And just show love.
Yeah.
Show love and appreciation.
Just have cats instead.
Listen, don't have those demons either.
Trying to get rid of
I
have 3 toddlers in this house, and they all look at me like I'm crazy.
That's where you messed up, because 3 toddlers is crazy. That's crazy. But if you want kids, have
yeah, but
people do the same thing to kids like they do in marriage.
Toddlerhood is the ghetto. The ghetto.
I think we playing like Zeke's up right now, just yelling at his crib. He done took off his clothes, like he just there rolling, like yeah, I hear y'all in there.
That's what I'm trying.
I put him down an hour ago. He just he's like
he into everything.
He's over here probably about to take clothes out the laundry basket. Like,
people be like, "What you doing?" I'm like, "Running after a toddler." What do you mean? What am I doing? What else am I gonna do?
All right, Parker and Alex, what do you have to say as far as any little last minute tidbits that you want to offer the world?
There's a lot of power in emotional support. Um, I think like even if there's nothing you can do about the situation, just being there for them is really powerful. Just knowing you have somebody in your corner is always great.
And for me, I would say that we as people are not static. We change, especially if you intend to have a long term relationship. And you have to give that same sort of space for yourself to grow that you would for your partner to grow. I have been many women over the years, so I have to assume that he's also going to change just the same. And there are no rules in a relationship. There's no right way or wrong way to do something. So it's
Oh, there's
perfect.
wrong ways.
Oh, there's definitely wrong ways. There's absolutely wrong ways to do things. But I would say that it can be as simple as saying, "Hey, I'm a little more receptive to these things right now. If that's cool with you, you can just have those conversations. It doesn't have to be this, I just know, because nobody just knows. And you don't just follow some things you see on TV. And not all of us had really great examples in front of us. And some of us didn't have any good examples at all. So it's more than okay to look at your partner and say, hey, this is where I'm at right now. This is what I'm available to and what I'm not. And just realize that you're going to flex and grow together if the long term is the goal.
Thank you guys. I want to say sincerely thank you from the bottom of my heart again. Um, I don't share my relationship online because of everybody has seen what I've gone through before. Um I was a very like extroverted person when it came to online because I had MySpace, so I told everybody everything. So now being an adult, I have kind of like started to step back, and it's not just because of the way that the cosplay community reception to my last relationship that was a big part of it, because that made me learn that sometimes whether you're doing good or you're doing bad, people will subscribe to your life, and I don't want to have people have that much power over me, because even if you're, let's say, friends with the person online and you don't really like what they post, and you just say, you know what, I'm just going to unfriend you, and then they message you like, well, why did you unfriend me? Like, I don't have to explain that because this is my platform. But again, it gives people the entitlement to check in on you and ask these questions and stuff. And life is just getting kind of scary. Like, sometimes when random people message me and they're just like, how's Queen? And I'm like, how the fuck do you know my cat's name? So I just keep a lot of things offline. But again, having a village is very important, to have people pour into you. And again, every couple and every person in this screen right here has told me even the smallest thing, whether it's be kind to yourself or remember you were invited. It has helped me a lot in my relationship. So I sincerely hope and pray that all of these words and all of this wisdom in this room, you can take away something and apply it to your lifestyle going forward. Because again, like we've said, we did not come from love. We don't know what love always looks like. We just know what we don't like and what it we don't like that it feels. So we're just kind of trying and failing, and not everybody is posting, their failures. Everybody's just posting their successes. So this is one time that I wanted people to be able to be vulnerable and have a great conversation. And I probably will need to talk to some toxic people. So there's something else to have a conversation about.
Bring me
Got
back
these females
on.
out here.
Stop.
Letting these
Bring me
females
on.
talk.
Not these females.
Letting these females talk, man. Get them back in the kitchen.
Actually, what we
These
didn't
modern
talk
day
about
women.
is what we don't bring to the table. So you see,
So who's
really,
paying for the
That's
first
our
date?
problem.
That's what I
That's
want
our
to ask.
problem.
I wouldn't let his mom sit in the front seat.
Are we going 50-50 on the middle?
It's what it is.
Hilarious.
We were all
50-50 on the
Assert
middle.
dominance as the woman of the house, as the top female.
And as an alpha male, I just think that I just got to carry yourself.
The way I
man.
gagged when you said alpha male.
You can't be an
absolutely
alpha
not.
male. Your
Yeah,
microphone
right?
is not like
How about
it's
signals
not like
these
one of
days?
those cheap like podcasting mics. You actually have a
Yeah,
nice
got you.
microphone. You're not allowed to be an alpha male.
Hanging there.
But
yeah,
sincerely,
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Perfect.
Back to the
Okay, now you can
toxicity.
be an alpha male.
Play some Future in the background real quick for me.
Oh
Leave
my
Future out of this.
Future.
Hey, leave Future out of this. I
I
kind
mean,
of like
also, like real talk, the bisexual lighting in y'all's bedroom not really helping the vibe.
No, because I mean it's professional over there. They got the good Chris
No, I
microphone.
know,
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
Like,
We
Y'all
got
got
two
everything
twin
going.
mattresses on the
I got the
floor.
mattress on the floor.
nobody saw that.
PS5 in
Nobody
the
saw
back.
that.
That
Nobody
didn't
saw
even
And a
that.
PS5 in the back. He said,
Both our cats over there
I'm
acting like they're
screaming
not about
toddler
to.
in the back and a PS5, girl. What you want?
I'm about to go play 2K right now with my boys.
This man's never owned a TK in his life.
But sincerely, I appreciate all of you for your transparency and just taking the time out on a Friday. You could have been doing anything else. Like I said, Nellie's birthday is in 2 days and shit like that. So I sincerely appreciate all of you because
Gross.
again, all of you have been
Yes.
busy and living life and doing the things. And yeah, so I sincerely appreciate it, all of you.
You're
Thank you so
welcome.
much for having us.
Thank
That's
you,
great.
Shay. This was fun.
I was happy to be here. Thank you for
Yeah,
inviting
let
me.
me know when the toxic one comes. I'll be there.
You're not invited to the toxic one.
I will absolutely watch the toxic one though. That's
Oh,
gonna
I'll
be.
be.
Have, like,
That's
a
gonna be a
toxic channel
shit
read
show.
I will be the toxic one. I'll just
I'm gonna wear a
like fake
mustache.
it.
Wear a
Oh,
mustache.
yes, we can wear mustaches.
I'm not going to shower that day either.
You'll channel your ex. It'll be great.
No, it'll be amazing. All right.
We'll all channel our exes, yes.
All right, comrade, take us out.
All right, that's all. Do you all have any
Final plugs.
final plugs for your Instagrams, your Twitters, your anythings?
Oh, I do. If anybody's watching and you were in Okinawa, Japan between like 1998 and 2006, I'm throwing our 20th reunion. So military brats, all like,
That is not
all
what I expected that to go.
yeah.
Same.
Book Candy. I would love to know who you're gonna Book Candy on IG. That's gonna be BOOK, like what you read, and then Candy spelled with an I, and then all the rest of my shit is in the links there. But I did a GoFundMe because for the first time ever, I was like, let me ask for help and actually have people donate. So I can't believe they're doing it. I'm super excited to meet this goal and to throw like the best reunion ever because I heard the other ones was whack and I don't do that shit. So I'm
She
very
don't do
excited.
that.
I don't. So Dallas Fort Worth is not ready. We finna turn up. That's where y'all voted. 151 people voted for that. So we're gonna turn the city out. Gang, gang out here. I saw the signs. Whatever's going on. We finna do
Oh,
it.
Naruto.
And I got a brand new single called "Living Life Flashy" coming out September 28th, featuring Mega Ran and Hieroglyphics. So that'll be on all streaming platforms. If you like Demon Slayer, if you like Tengen Uzui, this song is for you.
And I did the ghostwriting a little bit on it. They ain't gonna tell you that though, but
That's the toxic part. We don't get
you
credit.
never give
We
me
don't-
To
credit.
be your own one, to be your own one.
Practicing.
I'm Nellius on all platforms: Instagram, Twitter, TikTok.
Tick attack.
Don't follow
Parker.
me anywhere.
Don't follow Lorenzo. He ain't gonna follow you back. This stuff is private.
I'm nobody.
That's not
Oh
true.
no.
No, not in a sad
It's
way,
so
but
bad.
unless you're cool.
I'm Parker.projects on Instagram and YouTube.
My gamer
all
tag
of my
is
shit is right
Prison
here in the
Tag.
lower left corner. So, and then you can find Kate through
Yeah,
me.
if you're
Like-
on his socials, you'll find me.
Straight up, like 90% of my photos are of her. At this point, it's kind of ridiculous.
Adorable.
Like other people exist. No, they don't.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Hey, wait, husbando, I didn't hear your Twitch gamer tag thingy you said?
Oh, my gamer tag is Frizzle Frack. You can 1v1 me in any game.
Nice.
Really cute.
Nice. All right, that's it. We are out. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you, folks.